Alrighty, we are live, pal. We are live. Hello, hello. Anyone who might be in the stream right now, anyone who might be watching the VOD, welcome. Today we are going to be ranking all G1 characters from seasons 1 through 4. And this tier list was made by Alexander Ritchie. So huge shout out to them for putting this very comprehensive list together. I don't believe it has every single character. I think there are a few human characters that are missing, and like I have in the description, the folks from Nebulos, I believe, are not in this either, which is fine. Just gives me less people to talk about because we have 188 to talk about anyway. So yeah, I am more than happy with having a few less faces to have to remember and discuss. So, but yeah, I hope everyone's doing very well. Sidebar, unrelated to Transformers, but if anyone's checking out Daredevil Born Again, that just came out the other day, and I hope if you are checking it out that you're enjoying it. I just rewatched the original series before starting Born Again, and it was pretty different. It was a pretty different, I don't know, like an unexpected jump, I guess you could say. But yeah, no, I'm enjoying it so far, and also I just started rewatching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so I'll be seeing the new Captain America film tomorrow, so I want to kind of get caught up a little bit on Sam Wilson's story. So yeah. But obviously, as you can tell, we have got an absurd amount of characters to talk about today. And our tiers, we have our S, A, B, C, and F. Obviously, S being the best, F being the worst. And unfortunately, there, I think, will be quite a few characters who end up in the F tier just because we don't really get any time with them at all. They just make brief little appearances and then never show up again. Also, of course, I am only basing this off of G1. I'm not taking any other factors into account. No Transformers Prime, animated, the IDW series, the Skybound series. Not taking any of that into account when ranking these characters. This is solely based off of their appearances in the show, what they do in the show, and of course, if you've seen my other tier lists where I've done like Clone Troopers and Clone Wars arcs and whatnot, especially for the characters, I'm mostly just basing it off of how much time they have and what they do with that time, right? So say a character like Beachcomber really only appears, he makes several appearances in the show, but really it's just that one iconic episode that he shows up in, and it's what he does with his time in that episode is how I am going to be ranking him. Also, I have the Transformers, the game from the 2007 movie, the soundtrack for that playing in the background. So I really bumped up the sound for the background music. So hopefully everyone can hear it well enough. Of course, let me know if I need to change that, and even let me know for the VOD if I need to change that as well, because sometimes I just can't really tell, and I can't tell right now as it's going on because it sounds fine to me, but it might sound a little quiet to you. So yeah. So there we have it. I think with all that preamble out of the way, I think we can just start rolling here. We can transform and roll out, as it were. Obviously, we're starting off with a pretty big one here. In what world is Optimus Prime not an S tier, especially for a tier list like this, right? What really needs to be said about Prime? He's funny. He's charming. He's very down to earth, for a manner of speak. He comes across as just that friendly face that all the Autobot team can just cling on to. Yeah, Prime is just unbelievable. The last time I watched G1 was last year. I normally do it once every year, every 2 years, where I'll go back and rewatch G1. And there are so many amazing moments for Optimus, especially in season 2, I'd say. Sorry, there's just a fly flying over my head and I was trying to smack him out of the sky. But no, especially in season 2, I think Prime has some really exceptional moments. Well, season 1 isn't really that long anyway. It's only, about 16 episodes, and season 2 is like 50. So, of course, Prime has more moments in that. But no, I think, I mean, obviously, he's such a, I don't know, not a a commanding presence, but there's just something so nurturing about Prime. And there's one scene that always sticks out in my mind. It's it's, I can't remember the name of the episodes. The episode names are going to be probably my downfall of this one. But it's the episode when they're trying to drill into the Earth's core, when the Decepticons are trying to drill into the Earth's core. And the Autobots, I think, work alongside Devastator to stop it. And Chip Chase is like, oh, I really wish we could have convinced Devastator to join us, but that's probably some dumb old dream. And an Optimus kneels next to him and he goes, hang on to your dreams, Chip. The future is built on dreams. Hang on. It's like, oh man, that's just incredible. If only just for that exchange alone for Prime to get into S tier. Yeah, definitely 100% deserving of it. Bumblebee also got to be S tier. He's in many ways in the show the comedic relief. He's the sort of bridge between humanity and the Autobots. Originally, of course, in More Than Meets the Eye, it seemed like that was going to be Hound and Spike, but things kind of changed somewhere along the way. But no, so having Bumblebee and Spike be these exceptional partners throughout the first 2 seasons of the show, and even a little bit after with the movie, they just have such a great relationship with one another. And B is just a big ball of energy, as it were. He's again, much like Prime, a very charismatic character. Well, all of these characters are really charismatic in one way or another. But no, B is he's that, I don't know, trying to find the words for it. It's kind of tough to describe it. It's like he's that I don't know. He's like the cooler, like, I don't know. I'm not sure what words I'm looking for here, but he has such a strong bond with Spike that just it feels real, right? And especially not even for just Spike, for the other Autobots as well. Like the episode when they they kind of get brainwashed, I believe, and Prime is pretty much one of the last ones to be restored, and Bumblebee is just going right to him, regardless of the fact that he's the smallest on the team, and Prime is so gigantic. But even still, he still has that courage where he's trying to break through to Prime. Yeah, he's pretty much the embodiment of it's not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog. That's pretty much the epitome of Bumblebee, I'd say, for this show. And maybe to an extent Cliffjumper and the other mini-bots as well. But yeah, Bumblebee, gotta be S tier without question. Then we have Ironhide. Man, I do want to put Ironhide in S tier. I don't want to put everyone in S tier. There are definitely quite a few characters that are worthwhile, but I think I'll put Ironhide towards the top of A. Very much the old reliable when it comes to the Autobot team. I appreciate that episode that he gets, that spotlight episode. I think it's the first episode of season 2. It's the Immobilizer. I appreciate Ironhide having that sort of spotlight moment where he feels like he doesn't really belong anymore. He feels like his best days are behind him, and pretty much quits the team. And then when things go completely wrong, he has to pretty much come back to the fight to help save everybody, which he does. Yeah, Ironhide's awesome. Very, very incredible character. His tragic death, of course, always heartbreaking to watch. Of course, that whole Autobot team, but especially Ironhide. Sorry about that. I I have a mute button now, which is awesome. I put a keybind for that for OBS. I just have to push M and my mic mutes. So I know that's like streaming 101, but I hadn't set any hotkeys for OBS yet, so that's good to do. But anyway, so yeah, I think Ironhide's got to be top of top of A tier, top of S tier. Yeah, let's just put him up there. But yeah, no, Ironhide obviously incredible. He plays the bruiser very well, especially for this team where you've got a lot of mixed personalities, but some of them kind of fall to the wayside, and we'll get to those here actually pretty soon. But Ironhide especially stands out, if not for Peter Cullen's incredible performance with him. But yeah, just his rough and tough, with a heart of gold kind of personality that he has. Jazz is S tier. Probably going to put him right below Bumblebee. I do want to put him above Bumblebee because I do like Jazz more as a character than B. But in terms of G1, B gets way more spotlight and does a lot more in the spotlight than I'd say Jazz does. But Jazz is absolutely amazing. Just just a real charming character. And yeah, just much like the vast majority, I'd say, of characters from the season 1 Autobot cast, he really stands out. Just so much character to him. I love when we don't really get too much of just Jazz in this show. He's normally he's associated with other Autobots, whether it's like a big like battle or even like a smaller thing in season 2 when they're with Omega Supreme in that asteroid colony thing. We don't really get too much of Jazz on his own like we do some other Autobots in season 2. But even despite that, he just really steals the show every time. I love his moments with Blaster. It's and that's such a fitting combo as well, Blaster and Jazz. But I love the what is it when Blaster I think is at like is he with Spike maybe? I can't remember. I think they're at like a sports game, or maybe doing something else. I can't remember. But Blaster starts blasting music back to the Autobot base, and it's just so loud, and everyone is just covering their ears, and Jazz is just standing there dancing. it's moments like that are very special to have a character like Jazz around to sort of be that I guess that levity for the team when everyone else is in anguish. Jazz is celebrating, right? But no, yeah, Jazz I think is absolutely deserving of S tier. Ratchet's good. I don't know if I want to put him in A tier. He might be top of B. I might put him higher up later. But I feel like Ratchet's kind of one of those characters that fall to the wayside and don't really have too many moments to really stand out. I think one of the most notable for me is when Ironhide gets injured and he starts talking crap, and Ratchet's like, "Oh, if you keep this up, I'm gonna power you down or whatever. I'm gonna turn off your command switch, and then or turn off your vocal modulator or something." And then he just shuts down Ironhide. I like that, but with him, of course, being the team medic, he doesn't really show up too much unless someone gets hurt, right? If someone gets hurt and they need to be worked on. But even then, sometimes Wheeljack kind of takes that role as well. Even though he's the scientist, he kind of ends up being something of a medic sometimes. Like in Divide and Conquer when Optimus is nearly killed and Wheeljack is fiddling around with him, and he realizes he needs the the Cosmotron from his lab on Cybertron. So Ratchet kind of falls to the wayside. He kind of becomes Wheeljack's partner in crime in many ways. I feel like Ratchet doesn't really get too much time in the spotlight, but just enough, of course, to be in B tier. Then we have Mirage. Mirage, I think, is probably A tier. The Traitor episode, I think, is definitely a very standout moment for Mirage. But Mirage actually has quite a few other moments especially early on in G1, like in More Than Meets the Eye, when the Decepticons get their new ship up and running and they're flying off into space, and Mirage is there to sabotage the ship. I think that was a pretty great moment for him. It could have been anyone, but them choosing for it to be Mirage was, I think, a good call. And then having, of course, the traitor episode in season 2, where Cliffjumper is dead set on Mirage being a Decepticon traitor, catches him in the wrong place at the wrong time every time. I think that was just such a great episode, especially for those two characters. And obviously Mirage's ability to go invisible and do all of that is it makes him a pretty tremendous asset for the team. And I like this scene, especially this scene that the picture was chosen for, when Spike is kind of meeting all the Autobots and getting to know all of their traits, and Mirage is like, all right, watch me, and then he goes invisible, goes next to him and reappears. I think that was a pretty wholesome moment for the Autobots showing off their talents. Trailbreaker is going to be another one in B tier, where his best moments really just come from sort of being just a part of the team, and when his force field is needed to move the plot forward is really when he shows up. Like again in Divide and Conquer, when their team is on Cybertron and the acid rain is coming down on them and he puts up his force field, and that's really one of the few times that we see him use that ability, and just one of the few times we see Trailbreaker in general. I actually don't know, maybe someone can correct me. I've never really paid attention to Trailbreaker's appearances. Does he show up outside of season 1? Does he show up again in season 2 and possibly even the movie? I don't remember seeing him around too much in season 2. Yeah, maybe someone can let me know in the comments or in the live chat if anyone's here who can spot that for me. But yeah, Trailbreaker, again, he's kind of just a plot device in a way. For when his force field's needed, he'll be a part of the team, but if he's not needed, then he'll either just be a background character or he'll not be there at all. Hound, oh, poor Hound. Hound's probably going to be top of B tier, I'd say. He has much more character, I'd say, than Ratchet and even Trailbreaker. Trailbreaker's just kind of there, absolutely. Also, Crimson Toaster, welcome in. Yeah, Trailbreaker, he shows up when he needs to move the plot along, but in terms of being an integral part of the team, I wouldn't consider him up there. Yeah, Hound is... Yeah, it's tough, again, because when you watch More Than Meets the Eye for the first time, and you see Hound and Spike getting along, and Hound's taking him on a cruise through the desert and whatnot, it's like, okay, this is our human Autobot partnership throughout the show. And then after More Than Meets the Eye, Hound is just super relegated. It's really just those first few episodes when Hound gets his real spotlight moments, and then pretty much just like Trailbreaker, he never really does anything of note after that, at least not to my memory. So yeah, if Hound had stuck around being that sort of bridge between humanity and Cybertronians, he'd be much higher, probably towards the top of A tier, I'd say. But he got very shafted. Very, very shafted for the later parts of the show. I really don't, much like Trailbreaker, I don't really remember Hound showing up in season 2. I know he has a brief shot in the movie right before Optimus goes off to fight Megatron. He's there, I think, on the shuttle. He's like right outside the shuttle. So that's really all I can speak too much for Hound. Wheeljack. Wheeljack's going to be another... I think Wheeljack will be S tier. Very much just the mad scientist of the team, and he fits that role so well. Wheeljack, either like very low S tier or top of A, I think is kind of where I'm at. He's sort of on the border. Going through it, Exactly. Making the Dinobots was such a prime accomplishment for Wheeljack in the show. And really just, I don't know, Wheeljack just feels like one of the most dependable characters of the team. Because if something's going on, again, like I said, how Ratchet kind of becomes Wheeljack's partner in crime throughout most of the show. Like if like Prime, for example, gets badly hurt, Wheeljack needs the Cosmotron. Makes the Dinobots. When Spike gets hurt in season 2 for Autobot Spike, Wheeljack and Ratchet are there to stick his brain into a Frankenstein body. I know he's had so many other moments as well. I'm trying to think if what was it? There was one episode. I mean, and of course, him being the first of the Transformers that you see on screen as well. There's definitely some weight to that for his character. Him showing up with Bumblebee and getting these things. I can't remember the names of them right now. The rods, the fuel rods or whatever. There's definitely some weight to that with Wheeljack being a super legacy character. I think definitely bottom of S for Wheeljack. Prowl, I wish Prowl had more. I'm very biased in a way where I wish Prowl had so much more that I would put him up here, but I can't. I don't think I can put Prowl in A tier. If I'm going off of the same things that I said for Hound and Trailbreaker and Ratchet, I feel like the same applies to Prowl, where he's pretty high build when it comes to I think the bio for his character, right, where he's pretty much the second in command of the Autobots in G1, pretty much him and Jazz, and to an extent Ironhide. But C, yeah, pretty much. I think I am gonna put him below. I might put him. He might be below Trailbreaker. Because I feel like Trailbreaker has more personality than Prowl, and his skill set is a lot more valuable. But same with like the next couple. Yeah, no, definitely the next few are gonna be pretty C tier. I think Prowl probably has the most. I don't know, like the best for his screen time that he has in the show. I feel like he does a lot more than these next three. So yeah, these next three. I'll just go through right now. Blue Streak is just Prowl 2.0. He's got a little more personality, but he doesn't really get as much. It's normally we see these two together. I think it's not Divide and Conquer. It's that episode when they're at the I think they're in this like an airport maybe. I can't remember exactly what episode it was, but yeah, I remember. Oh, it was the episode with Chip Chase, right? When I think Prowl like communicates the message to Chip to his computer. I don't remember what episode that was. That was in season 1 though. But yeah, so Blue Streak, C tier. Sunstreaker is definitely C tier, or not Sunstreaker, Sideswipe. Sideswipe and Sunstreaker. I think I'm putting Sunstreaker above Sideswipe. I appreciate Sunstreaker, his personality, sort of obsessed with his looks, but we'll get to it for the season 2 cast. I actually appreciate something I want to point out this tier list. I appreciate that the individual that made this, Alexander, I appreciate that he split it up by season. So you have the Autobot cast, and then there's the Decepticons, and then there's the season 2 Autobots and Decepticons, and then 3 and 4. I appreciate how that's broken up, so it gives me a chance to sort of talk about season by season. But that's right, yeah, Chip controlled him. That's right, I remember now. But yeah, Sunstreaker, I appreciate him being kind of obsessed with his looks, but that's about it. He's very much just another body for the team, and Sideswipe pretty much doesn't have anything. I think Sideswipe's best moment is it's not even really his moment. It's when it's in, I think, in More Than Meets the Eye, right? Where the Decepticon ship is flying off and Optimus tells him to give him his jetpack. And Sideswipe's like, what? And Prime's like, no! So I think that's pretty much Sideswipe's best moment in G1. But no, Sunstreaker has some fun moments. What's this? What's the picture here? Oh, does he have Chip? Is that who that is? Um, but yeah, so I probably just put them pretty much all about there. Yeah, that's right. When he gave Prime his jetpack, and that was pretty much just Sideswipe's best moment. And Sunstreaker is just slightly better, and I'd say Blue Streak just slightly better than that. Cliff Jumper is definitely up there. He's probably right around Mirage, I'd say. Basically for all the same reasons that I put Mirage in A tier with the Traitor episode, I think is awesome. Cliff just being this very hard-headed individual who doesn't really analyze the situation is a character trait that I appreciate them sticking with for his like spotlight appearances, like when it's him and Hound. And they're spying on the Decepticon, them building their new base. And he's just ready to shoot Megatron and just completely fumbles it because he didn't really analyze the situation. And then with the Traitor episode, when just wrong place, wrong time for Mirage, and Cliff doesn't really think about the situation. He just sees Mirage in this spot and then believes him to be a traitor. Yeah, it's I've got Megatron dead set in my crosshairs. Or dead center, I think. I've got Megatron dead center in my crosshairs. Yeah, no, Cliff is amazing. Definitely right around the same spot as Mirage, I'd say. Brawn, much like these two with Season 2, I think his best moment comes from a single Spotlight episode. Brawn's probably top of B tier, but the episode I'm talking about is with him, Perceptor, and Bumblebee. I can't remember the name of the episode right now for whatever reason, but when they have to shrink down, when Megatron gets that like powerful crystal star thing that he puts inside his chest, that gives him like super strength basically, and then the three of them have to shrink down to go inside Megatron to deactivate that star. I think it was a star, right? It was like the, I don't know, like crystal star or whatever. Yeah, I appreciate Brawn and Perceptor, not really Perceptor. Perceptor just kind of takes it, but Brawn really laying into Perceptor, believing that he's a coward because he's a scientist and he stays at base instead of going out for the fights like Brawn does. And then Perceptor really proving to Brawn that his talents are just as necessary inside the Autobot base than they are on the field. And then, yeah, so Brawn just being super against Perceptor at the start of the episode, and then by the end, he's like, hey, this is my buddy. That was just a very wholesome moment between the two. So yeah, but Brawn definitely has several other moments throughout, I think mostly Season 1, I want to say. Like him grabbing Megatron's fusion cannon, right? Like that's definitely an iconic Brawn moment for all the right reasons. So yeah, Brawn I think is probably towards the top of B tier. I appreciate the character work that he has throughout his few appearances. And then of course his death, I wouldn't say his death is the most brutal, but it might be, well, it was the first death of the Autobot team in the movie, so it was kind of the most unexpected in a way, where he just basically has his shoulder blown out, which is just an insane visual. So have we ranked all of the Shuttle Death Crew? I believe we have, right? Because we've done Ironhide, Ratchet, Prowl, and Bronze. Yeah, we've done all the Shuttle Death Crew. That's what my brother and I call them. We call them the Shuttle Death Crew. I think we went to this local toy store, or I can't remember if we went to Target or to that toy store first. But we found I think both 2-packs of the death the death characters, with the Ironhide and Prowl 2-pack, and then the Ratchet and Brawn 2-pack. And I was just calling them the Shuttle Death Crew, and then that kind of stuck. So we were just calling them that the whole time. So whenever I'd see like just Prowl, I'd be like, oh, Shuttle Death Crew. So yeah, so there we go. So yeah, Brawn towards the top of B. Huffer is kind of tough. He's definitely above Prowl, I'd say. He might even be above Trailbreaker. I don't know if I can put him above the rest of these guys. But Huffer, outside of More Than Meets the Eye, doesn't really get very many moments. I think in Divide and Conquer, he has a couple of good lines of him just pretty much giving up. Where he's, that we're not fighters like they are, Prime. So yeah, it's really just with More Than Meets the Eye when Huffer is pretty much established as the coward of the group. Though he's the only one that we see toting around Prime's trailer after Prime gets hurt in More Than Meets the Eye. I think that was part 3 maybe. Yeah, not Ratchet, but yeah, because I think he has a lot more personality than Trailbreaker and Prowl by a large margin, and the appearances that he has of his cowardice, I think, just puts him a little bit above, because at least he has a gimmick that sticks character-wise. But in the case of the others, it just, like, Prowl pretty much has zero personality. Trailbreaker has a little bit of personality, but he's really just a gimmick. And these two are really all personality, just no substance, I think, right? So yeah, Huffer I'd probably put right about, maybe about middle of B tier. Windcharger is C tier. Probably right around Sideswipe, maybe bottom or below Sideswipe right now. Windcharger really just doesn't have anything. He is just another body. He has some moments, I want to say, but I can't remember them for the life of me. The only thing I remember about Windcharger is his dead body in the movie. That's pretty much it for Windcharger's character, at least for me. I guess it's, I don't know, like I think his defining trait is that he looks more like a GoBot than he does a Transformer. I don't know. He kind of reminds me a bit of Leader One, but also I think Slingshot probably reminds me more of Leader One. Windcharger is the same with the others in C. Yeah, absolutely. He out of these 4, I think he has the least personality, or at least he has the least amount of time to shine. So yeah, Windcharger, not really much to go off of. Gears is fantastic. He's probably going to be right next to Brawn, I'd say, in B tier. Again, another moment where he has a spotlight episode for himself with changing gears, and where Megatron takes out his personality chip, and Gears just becomes this cheery, happy, totally willing to cooperate guy. And I love that episode so much, especially for Gears. Just him, like, it all sounds so sarcastic. So whenever I go back and watch it, part of me feels like he's faking it. When he's just like, oh yeah, sure, Megatron, I'll do that for you. But obviously that's by design. So yeah, I think that's just such a huge episode, especially for Gears. The only thing I feel like he has is that episode, though. That's his only thing. I agree. Yeah, he has a couple of things in season 1, I believe, where he's just being cranky Gears. But outside of that, I would say that that's pretty much it. Is just changing gears. But it left such an impression, I think, for his character, that he's definitely it in terms of personality, it shoots him right above all these guys. And yeah, just that ending, especially when when the Autobots are all there, and Optimus is like, all right, well, let's get your personality chip back in. And the rest of the Autobots are like, actually, Prime, we took a vote, and we actually like Gears how he is. And Gears is like, hey, if you guys don't give me my my personality chip back, I'm going to start kicking transistors. So even though he doesn't have his personality chip, that part of him is still bleeding through, which I really appreciate for him. So yeah, Gears and Brawn, I'd say probably right about the same territory. Skyfire or Jetfire, whatever you want to call him. I kind of just stick with calling him Skyfire. when it comes to his G1 appearance, anyway. Skyfire is kind of tricky, because again, it's a similar case where it's his first appearance has so much for him. He's definitely not towards the bottom of B tier. I think he's actually kind of around the same spot as these guys. I don't know. It's really tough. Think he's A? He's either super top of B or bottom of A. I'll put him at the bottom of A for right now. But I really, again, I think his episode, his Spotlight episode is absolutely amazing. Where he starts out as a Decepticon and he's been super misled and he's kind of blinded by his past with Starscream, that he's just sort of willing to look back the atrocities that Megatron's trying to commit. And then he really comes through, I guess, when it comes to just his good nature, where then he turns on the Decepticons, joins the Autobots. Iconic scene, of course, when he takes off his Decepticon shield and then holds up the Autobot one. I think that's just, it's like, where did he get that? Where did he get that shield? Does he just have it in his back pocket, even though I don't think the Autobots and the Decepticons were a thing at that point? I agree, Bomb Bay is fair because he's still in other episodes, but yeah, exactly. That's the thing, right? Is he's very much the transport. Like before Omega Supreme was a thing, it was Skyfire. So yeah, him being that sort of transit system to get them from point A to point B, to make it more believable, right? Because the Autobots, I think they were in Oregon, right? I don't know. I don't think it's ever blatantly said where the Ark crashed, but I'm pretty sure it's in Oregon. And so them driving from Oregon all the way to South America just doesn't make any sense, which is what they do a lot, especially in season 1, where it's just like, oh no, the Decepticons are attacking this power plant at an unnamed location. Let's just drive all the way there, assuming that it's all in like a tight area. So when it starts expanding, where it's like, okay, we have to get to the Arctic. How do we get to the Arctic? Because Skyfire wasn't around then, because that was the episode that he first shows up. So how did they get to the Arctic? That doesn't make sense. Let's just have Skyfire be their transport from here on out. But yeah, Skyfire just has a few standout moments after that. I think Fire in the Sky. Wait, is that Is Fire in the Sky the name of his debut episode? I mean, I want to say that it is because that just makes sense for the title. But whatever the episode was when they're in South America with the mountain, and Spike is with that the local girl, and I think they're with Skyfire for a little bit. I don't know. I can't remember what that episode was called. I want to say it was Fire in the Sky because they're in like a volcano, but Fire in the Sky doesn't make sense because that's his name, so that would be his debut episode. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, he has quite a few good moments. So yeah, I do think that Skyfire is deserving of A, probably bottom of A. Hauler. This is just Hauler, right? Because I think Grapple is further. Yeah, Grapple is right there. So Hauler is going to be F tier. Like, why? I don't even know why Hauler is included in this list. Hauler's his only purpose was just to lift Hound out of the wreck. So yeah, Hauler is not a character. Hook for like the Constructicons, you think? Yeah, we'll get to the Constructicons eventually. Pretty soon. But yeah, Hauler is just only one appearance ever in the show, only in vehicle mode. I don't even think, like, I'm pretty sure everyone, what am I trying to say here? I don't think anyone actually, I think that this was all an illusion. I don't think anyone actually saw Hauler. I think that we've all been gaslit into thinking that this person exists. This is not a character. That's right, Hauler is green. I was going to say, yeah, the yellow looks a bit weird here. It looks like that might have been color swapped because, yeah, Grapple is the yellow one. So yeah, this is definitely Hauler because this is the shot when Hauler is lifting Hound out of the bottom. But yeah, we do have Grapple right here, so we'll get to Grapple eventually. Um, so yeah, not sure why Hauler was included, but oh well. Then we have Grimlock. Grimlock is S tier. Um, Yeah, no. So yeah, this isn't Grapple. This is intended to be Hauler because this is the season 1 cast, and then yeah, then we have Grapple right here alongside Hoist, right next to Perceptor. So yeah, I'm pretty sure this was just a color swap. Because yeah, Hauler was green. Wait, was he green in the show though? I don't remember. Let me actually. I need to look this up. Um, G1 Hauler. Whoops. Nope. There we go. I want to see if I can see a frame. Okay, so he was yellow in the show. That was not color swapped. Okay, that's good to know. So yeah, so Hauler is yellow in the show as well, but he got changed for the toy. He was changed to green. Yeah, so he is yellow in the show, but then they just decided to make it Grapple down the road. Yeah, I don't know about the show, but toys. Yeah, he's definitely green for the toys, but yeah, for the show he was yellow. I thought it was a color swap for this. I thought he was green in the show, but no, that what made him a Constructicon. So yeah, Hauler, we're just gonna pretend that he's not there, but he is definitely bottom of F tier, I would say. But yeah, anyway, so Grimlock, I mean, do I really need to touch on Grimlock? He's just amazing. Grimlock has so much charisma, personality. He's just a very much, when he's not a very intimidating character, he is an incredible comic relief. And that extends throughout the entire show. I think in seasons 1 and 2, they really nailed the devastating nature of Grimlock, with him and the rest of the Dinobots, of course. But then for, I think, towards later, towards the end of season 2, maybe, for the movie, and then for season 3, Grimlock, very much a comedic character, and rightfully so. It's just a very, very excellent character to have as a comedic relief when things start to get a bit more serious for the rest of the cast. Me Grimlock kick butt. Yeah, me Grimlock need do strategy. So yeah, Grimlock is undoubtedly S tier. The rest of the Dinobots are a trick though, because I don't know. Outside of just having the same speech pattern, they don't really have much character besides that. I think Swoop is probably the only one. So I think I'm gonna put the rest of them in a low B tier, maybe below or maybe above Prowl, I'd say. But Swoop, I think I'll put in A tier. Swoop, I think, does stand out from the rest of the Dinobots. But yeah, Sludge, Snarl, and Slag, they kind of all fit together. I don't know about all the other Dinobots, but Swoop and Grim are like B. Yeah, Swoop. I think Swoop, being the sort of scout of the Dinobots, I think lends itself a lot to him. But yeah, the rest of the Dinobots are pretty interchangeable. Like, there's nothing really about them where it's like, okay, I would rather have Snarl over Slag, right? So yeah, there's just they're very interchangeable with one another, especially when it comes to them being partnered with Grimlock. Like, one way or another, they're gonna start butting heads. Actually, I'm gonna put because the beryllium baloney scene in the movie is so iconic for all the right reasons. Dang, that's tough. Darn. Ah, man, I don't know. That's a real tough one. Yeah, Dinobot Island as well with Swoop. pretty stand out. Yeah, no, I'll just keep all the Dinobots in B for right now. I'll have to really think about it for the scenes, especially with the Beryllium Baloney scene and excuse me, when they push down the wall on the Quintesson judge or the whichever Quintesson that it was in the movie. And then in season 3, the Dinobots are pretty much non-existent. They only show up like maybe 3 times. Maybe 4. It's a very limited amount of appearances for the Dinobots down the road. It's pretty much just Grimlock. Okay, and then we are on to the Decepticons. Megatron is S tier. I'm gonna put him right next to Optimus. His dynamic with the rest of the Decepticons is so outstanding. Is such a great contrast from Optimus, where Optimus is such a nurturing soul when it comes to interacting with the rest of his team, and then Megatron is just belittling and berating and smacking him around. Megatron is just the polar opposite of Optimus, right? All I can remember in season 3 is like, yes, yeah, and call the Primitives as well. The episode, speaking on Grimlock's new brain, right? Like the Dinobots show up in Grimlock's new brain, like at the beginning and then at the end, basically, where they're like fishing or whatever. And then when Grimlock loses all of his intelligence and they're back on Cybertron, he goes back to fishing with the guys. So that's pretty much it. Starscream is above B. Yeah, we'll get to Starscream in just a second. Choke out. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, where it's for the case of Megatron. I mean, obviously a testament to his patience, I guess, right? Even though he does smack around his guys a lot and shoot at them and undermine their efforts and all that. He does have a lot of patience for for guys like Starscream, where constantly being betrayed, and again with Blitzwing and Astrotrain and all of them, and even the Constructicons at one point. Even and Bruticus as well. Even though despite all that, he still keeps them around. Of course, he does see them as useful assets, but no, it's again a testament to Megatron with his character. But no, I even though, like, again, Megatron is the big bad for seasons 1 and 2, and when the Decepticons show up, it's usually tied to Megatron as well. So Megatron never really gets a quote-unquote spotlight episode, but I'd really say every episode that he's in is a spotlight episode for him, because whatever scheme that he's up to, he's thought it out and he's enacted it in some way to a degree of success, and then he gets stopped at the end of the day. So it's just I appreciate Megatron being that consistent part of the show, where it's him concocting all of these plans, as opposed to having it be like one of his underlings that are really doing it. So yeah, Megatron obviously S tier. He has to be. Starscream is undoubtedly S tier as well. I agree in that he is above Bumblebee. He's probably I'd probably say Starscream, like, just for me saying this, just to put it out there, I think Starscream is the best character of the show. And I might put him at the top. I think I'll put Starscream at the top for right now. That might move around a little bit. But just some of the best character work that happens in this show happens with Starscream. Whether it's him just constantly trying to usurp Megatron, and even moments when he's not trying to take over as leader of the Decepticons, when it's just him involved in some shenanigans, right? Like for the medieval episode, when Starscream and Ramjet and whoever else, I think Rumble, and then it's Warpath and Hoist and Spike when they all get trapped in the Merlin era. And Starscream is like he's really showing off his scientist chops when they like invent all this new technology to help the evil knights against the good ones. Like even just moments like that, Starscream is so like just such a standout. And yeah, it's of course his moments when he's trying to usurp Megatron are to be considered as well. And he's just so funny. He's so just chaotic. Where yeah, and just from the get-go, right? It's just that was always his character from the beginning. You see a lot with this show. Characters sort of evolve to different points. Like, for instance, we have characters who devolve, like Hound, where he starts out, again, as sort of this bridge between humanity and the Autobots, and then it becomes Bumblebee. But Starscream has always been a constant in the show, where in his first scene, he says that, you know, if the Autobots would have been terminated ages ago if I'd been calling the shots, or eons ago, wherever he says. So yeah, Starscream is just the constant of the show. Where other characters go through lots of different evolutions and changes, Starscream is the constant. And then him going on to create the Combaticons. Like you said here, like Crimson said here in the chat, where it's, yeah, he created the Combaticons after being exiled from the Decepticons after his latest attempt on Megatron's life. And teaming up with the Triple Changers to trap Megatron in the ice, and then they betray Starscream, and then that's where the famous I'm stupid" line comes from. And then yeah, as a ghost in season 3, that was something that I really wish came back. I don't know if the show continued with season 4. I'm not sure if Starscream's ghost would have ever come back, or not even his ghost, because he was completely remade at that point. I don't know if he ever would have come back, but I like to think that he would have. But yeah, Starscream's ghost and Ghost in the Machine are probably my favorite episodes, I'd say, of season, or they're top 5, I'd say, my favorite episodes of season 3. Because yeah, it's this like, you know, legacy character coming back is something that you don't really see very much. Because it was pretty much all the new blood at that point, right? Where you have all the movie characters and the other characters who show up, like I don't know, like Run Amok and Runabout and all them, right? And Metroplex and stuff. But Starscream being the one that shows up and is this legacy character to bridge the gap, I think is great. And him possessing Cyclonus and possessing Scourge and trying to kill Megatron, trying to get his body back, that's all just incredible stuff. So yeah, Starscream has to be S tier. But his Seeker companions, on the other hand, are very low. Skywarp and Thundercracker are probably top of C tier. I think I'll put Thundercracker just a bit above Skywarp. I think Thundercracker is just a bit more character than Skywarp. But yeah, very much like these other characters here from the Autobot team, they are all character and no real substance, or no real shining moment, I'd say, in G1. Hey, Marvelous, welcome in. Good to see you. So yeah, I think that they're very much just the cronies. And yeah, again, just like the rest of these guys, when it comes to their appearances in the show, yeah, they're pretty much just all character, no real moments. Yeah, they have the cool powers, right? Like Skywarp can teleport. That's awesome. But it's used effectively here sometimes, like I think in Divide and Conquer when Optimus gets taken out of action. I think Skywarp uses it a few times. All right, I think it's when the Seekers break into that power plant and they're like terrorizing the humans, and Skywarp just like starts teleporting around. If I'm remembering right, I believe that the animation was messed up and it was Starscream who was doing that, which made no sense. But yeah, I do think that Skywarp and Thundercracker, again, they have solid character moments, like when Starscream's just belittling them, like in Starscream's brigade, right? When he's going to the space bridge to go to Cybertron, and the Seekers are there waiting for him, and Starscream sticks his null ray in one of their faces. That's their best moments, is when they're being belittled by Starscream. Yeah, I think the Seekers can go in C tier for sure. Soundwave, oh man, I feel like Soundwave's got to be S tier. That's tough. He's either super top of A tier or S tier. I think I'll go with S tier for Soundwave. He's kind of right around Wheeljack, I'll say. Yeah, it's just him being the spy obviously gives him so many moments, right, where he's sneaking into places, turning into the tape deck. Yeah, it makes the cubes, right? Yeah, that's how Starscream's that goes when he made other people's best moments. Exactly, and that was sort of my point about who was I talking about when I had pointed that out, where it's like their best moments are at other people's expense. I can't remember who I was talking about with that. Yeah, and he has the episode with Blaster. What's the name of that episode? That isn't Autobop, is it? That might be Autobop. I'm not sure, but that was in season 2, when they're having that basically that music battle. Yeah, that was a pretty great episode for it, and that was one of the few episodes, I'd say, when it wasn't really Megatron's scheme, right? Because I feel like Animated kind of took some notes from that when it had Soundwave using the sounds to like hypnotize people. I feel like that was one of the few episodes when Soundwave wasn't the one, or when Megatron wasn't the one behind that scheme, because I think it was really just Starscream and Soundwave doing the dance club stuff. So yeah, which the other secrets were used more than G1. I agree absolutely, because aside from like Skywarp and Thundercracker really just show up in season 1. They do show up, of course, in season 2 and in the movie, but their best moments, for as few as they are in season 1. And then for the rest of the Seekers with the Coneheads, right? Like they have several moments that are really just in season 2. There are a few in season 3 as well, but that's kind of the extent of it. There was both those with the music notes. Oh my gosh, yeah, not the Carnage in C minor in season 3 with Soundwave and Blaster on what's the yeah. I remember watching that episode again when I did my G1 rewatch last year, and I never really paid attention to the names of those characters who show up, and also those characters aren't in this list either, thankfully. Those the music species, whatever they're called. And like one guy's name was like Zebop Scandana or something. I just remember being like, I'm sorry, what? Soundwave saying this like name about like Zebop Scandana. I'm like, I'm sorry, what just came out of your mouth, Soundwave? So yeah, that was just such a terrible episode for all the right reasons. But no, with that being a highlight for Soundwave especially, because at that point we hadn't really gotten much Soundwave in season 3. That was pretty much Soundwave's only moment in season 3. And then I'm not factoring in Headmasters or anything with this, but then of course him and Blaster having their epic showdown that results in their deaths and their upgrades. That was something I wish had made it into G1, but Headmasters is fine enough for that. But yeah, no, I'd probably say it. Soundwave is got to be probably around tier and S tier. Laserbeak, probably A tier. Probably bottom of A tier, maybe. I mean, if there was one of his cassettes that gets used the most throughout the whole show, I would say it's Laserbeak. even though we don't really see him much in season 3, I believe. I believe by that point it's mostly just Ratbat. I think it's mostly Ratbat who shows up in season 3, but no, in season yeah, I think Laserbeak, I think I'll put him above Swoop. Because Swoop is kind of teetering on B and A, I'd say. That's tough. Because yeah, I think it's a testament to Laserbeak as an infiltrator to have him be used the most for sure, and being the one to really like super damage Optimus after his bout with the Seekers in Divide and Conquer. He's the one that, he flies into the Autobot base and shoots at Optimus even more. So yeah, I might put him above Skyfire as well. So yeah, probably about mid-A. Yeah. Because I think Laserbeak gets so many more moments to shine, and does so, than Skyfire does. Yeah, I think Laserbeak will probably be right around there. And then Ravage, I think, will kind of be a little bit lower. Ravage still has quite a few great moments, doing all the infiltration stuff, and like the episode when Ravage gets captured. Is that More Than Meets the Eye? I can't remember if that was More Than Meets the Eye or not. I just remember Hound being kind of a big player in that episode, so that's kind of what makes me think it was More Than Meets the Eye. So yeah, but no, Ravage. All right, and that's also where the Universe figure comes from as well. How like there's that Universe figure that has that's Hound, and he comes with a Ravage. Because I think Ravage like basically hitchhikes on Hound into the Autobot base, if I'm not mistaken. Ravage is probably a little lower than Laserbeak, yeah, as he's mostly in season 1, yeah. Yeah, season 2, not around too much, but in season 1, Ravage does have quite a few standout moments. Like that scene when he breaks into Chip Chase's house and then busts out the window holding on to him. That was a crazy sequence there. Okay, then we have Rumble, because Rumble is blue and Frenzy is red. That's my stance. That's the side that I've chosen. Is yeah, Rumble's the blue one. I don't care what the toy says in Japan. I don't care. He's Rumble in the show. So yeah, Rumble is definitely significantly higher than Frenzy, and higher than Ravage, and probably kind of right around the same spot as Laserbeak, I'd say. Get it right, people. I know. No, I understand people's standpoint on that by saying that Rumble is black and red. But no, I completely go off of the show. I was getting some ideas yesterday. I was working on a script the other day. Not yesterday, I'm sorry. The other day, I was working on a script, and I wanted to go through and replay Transformers Devastation. Just because a few of the ideas that I'm drawing from come from Devastation. And during the Soundwave boss fight, they have the colors swapped for Rumble and Frenzy. And I remember just being like, no! Get ready to tumble. Or yeah, it's get ready to crumble before Rumble. I think that's what he says in the in War for Cybertron, if I'm not, or no, in Fall of Cybertron. Maybe he says it in both. I'm not sure. Is Rumble even in that game? I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, Rumble, again, much like the rest of the cassettes, is very gels very well with Soundwave. I think Frenzy is actually going to be a B tier, maybe even very low B tier. Because, yeah, like, no, not low A. It probably right above Prowl, I'd say. Because whenever you see Frenzy, it's him alongside the rest of the cassettes. But I think more often than not, you have Rumble in these places of prominence, right? Where the in More Than Meets the Eye with the tidal wave stuff at the dam, right? Where it's Rumble who's the one in the water with his pile drivers. And yeah, whenever there's like situations like that, when Rumble's needed for stuff like that, it's Rumble. you never really see Frenzy in those positions, and if Frenzy is around, it's because he's alongside Rumble doing that stuff. So yeah, you never really see Frenzy strike out on his own or go out on his own and do stuff like that you would see Rumble or even the rest of the cassettes do. So yeah, Frenzy's probably not even probably, because that's what this tier list dictates, is for me anyways, that out of this group, Frenzy is the least beneficial member of the cassettes for season 1. But for the rest of the seasons, with Rat Bat and Buzzsaw, they might be lower. We'll see. Oops. Then we have Reflector, or Refractor, as the Siege toy line would call him. Call them? Not sure. I'm not sure how Reflector is meant to be addressed, because it's 3 bots that form into one. But normally when they're talking about Reflector, they just say Reflector. But no, Reflector is not going to be B tier. Reflector is definitely going to be C tier. Probably right around these guys, I'd say. I'd say a Reflector has probably less personality than Windcharger. But they have more standout moments in season 1. And yeah, I appreciate the appearance of Reflector as well. I've always thought of Reflector as just the ideal appearance for a Decepticon soldier, just like your typical like generics. And I feel like Reflector is kind of treated that way as well in season 1. Like that, like in, is it Divide and Conquer? I think it might be Divide. Most of my memories come from Divide and Conquer, because that's one of my favorite episodes of G1. But when Reflector gets stuck in the pod that goes to Cybertron, and I'm pretty sure Reflector just stays there for the rest of season 1, then never shows up again. So yeah, it's not too many moments outside of just turning into a camera. 3 bots forming into 1 camera, tiny camera. It's insane. Shockwave is super biased, gotta be S tier. Probably right around Wheeljack, I'd say. I really appreciate Shockwave's moments. The few, well, not necessarily few. It's not like he doesn't have it's not like he has a very minimal amount of appearances. But the appearances that he does have, he really shines, I think, especially in season 2. When we start doing more stuff on Cybertron, I feel like Shockwave really stands out, especially with the Elita 1 stuff, and the female Autobots. For anyone who's seen the Dr. Smooth Transformers skits, if you haven't seen them, I highly recommend it. They're certainly not intended for younger audiences, but I think they are absolutely hilarious. And it's Shockwave's Burden, I believe, is the name of the one that I'm thinking of right now. Yeah, Shockwave's Burden. And then there's there's the Red Alert one is also just absolutely hilarious. I mean, they're all amazing. But and then of course the Rude Awakening of Optimus Prime, who could forget that. But yeah, Shockwave, again, like I said, especially in season 2, quite a few standout moments. Whenever the team has to go to Cybertron, Shockwave is their adversary. He's the one that was handpicked by Megatron to stay behind. So yeah, got to be pretty decently low S tier, I'd say, for the one-eyed bot. The Rainmakers I'm going to put in F tier. They're going to be above Hauler. Hauler is going to be the bottom of F tier, I'm pretty sure. But the Rainmakers don't have any personality. They hardly ever show up. Really, their only moment was in Divide and Conquer with the Acid Rain. Was it Nova Storm, Ion Storm, and Sunstorm, right? I think it's Sunstorm. Nova Storm, Acid Storm, Nova Storm, Nova Storm, Ion Storm, and Acid Storm. I think that's who they are. I think those are the names, because I know the green one is the green one's Acid Storm, but I think that's Ion Storm, maybe. Sunstorm, Nova Storm, Sunstorm. I think you're Sunstorm, because in Revenge of the Fallen, the game, you're Sunstorm. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, the Rainmakers I'm gonna put down in F tier. Just no personality, only one decent moment that puts the auto, but they weren't even needed for that. Like, Megatron could have just had an acid rain making machine instead of just having a bunch of Seekers do it. So, yeah, not too much there for the old Rainmakers. The Insecticons, they're all going to be in the same spot. Shrapnel, I think we're going to put them probably right around the top of B tier, I'd say. I'm going to put Bombshell at the top. Bombshell, Shrapnel, and Kickback, probably in that order. Because typically whenever we see the Insecticons involved in an episode, Bombshell is typically, I feel like, the one who we most associate as the leader. And he's the one with the Cerebro shells. Whenever there's some like mind control plot going on in an episode, it's normally Bombshell who's kind of leading the charge with that, because again, he has the shells to do the mind control. Like in the Nightbird episode, right, when the Decepticons kidnapped Nightbird, not really kidnapped because she didn't really have a personality or any directive at that point, but when Nightbird was stolen, I guess you could say, it was Bombshell, right, who was one with the Cerebro shell to reprogram her. And then in the episode when the Insecticons pretty much go rogue and try to overthrow Megatron, it's pretty much Bombshell is the one that leads the charge with that, because he has the shells. And then Shrapnel sometimes has that leader role, very few times. And then Kickback is pretty much the henchman, I'd say, of the team. In that order, I'd say for sure, with the Insecticons in B tier. Constructicons are going to be in a very similar boat. B tier is going to be very loaded. We still have quite a few characters to go here, and I can tell that B tier is going to be very loaded. Oh yeah, no problem, Crimson. Thank you so much for stopping in. I really appreciate you hanging out. Enjoy the rest of the list once you get to it. Appreciate you. I think Constructicons are definitely going to be towards the higher end, I'd say, of B tier. We got Mixmaster, Long Haul. Bone Crusher's probably going to be towards the bottom. Which one are you? Are you Hook? I think you're Hook. Hook's probably going to be above Bone Crusher. Scrapper's going to be at the top. And Devastator is going to be above Scrapper, I guess. Maybe Devastator's going to go in A tier. I don't know. Probably right above these guys. Maybe, yeah, probably above here. Probably above Laserbeak. There we go. Probably right around there. I think having Scrapper at the top of the Constructicons makes sense, because like I was just talking about... Sorry, I should have my button there. Much like with Bombshell being pretty much the widely associated as leader of the Insecticons, Scrapper is pretty much just the leader of the Constructicons, even though I'm sure it could be looked at as there's no real leader among them. I would beg to differ. I'd say that pretty much every time we see the Constructicons, Scrapper is their spokesperson. He's the one that's communicating with Megatron. He's the one that's sort of he's the kind of the foreman of all their plans, of all the stuff that they create. So yeah, I'd probably have Scrapper be up there at the top. Which one are you? Are you Hightower? Is that your name? I don't remember. This is like the forgotten member. Bone Crusher. Oh, Scavenger. I think Hightower, I was thinking, was the Bayverse version. Yeah, so we have Scrapper, Mixmaster, Scavenger, Longhaul, Hook, and Bone Crusher. I think in that order. Maybe Longhaul goes above Scavenger. Who are you calling inferior? Wait a minute. Okay, maybe Scavenger at the bottom. Maybe. I don't know. Nobody would follow an uncharismatic bore like you. That's tough. I think Longhaul's gonna go down here. Just those lines alone are convincing me to change it up. Okay, so those are the Constructicons. I think that's fair placement for them. And then Devastator, I'd probably put in A tier. Devastator is just when the Constructicons aren't individuals, we just see them as Devastator, right? Like I feel like we might see them more as the Constructicons individually than we do as Devastator, but then again, whenever they show up, they normally just turn into Devastator. But darn, that's tough. I kind of want to put Devastator lower, but I feel like Devastator is presented so well when he shows up, because the Constructicons, obviously they're the builders of the Decepticons. They construct all of Megatron, whatever Megatron schemes that he has, and the Devastator's one to just wreak havoc on the Autobots. And I feel like that presentation for Devastator is a lot more substantial, I think, than the Constructicons individually. So yeah, I think I'll stick with that ranking for right now. Then we have Spike and Sparkplug. Sparkplug I'm going to put pretty low. Not super low, but he's probably going to be kind of right. Well, we get more of him. Well, maybe not. Dang, I was kind of expecting to put Sparkplug low, but I actually don't know if I will. He's probably going to be right around there in A tier. Spike is going to be a lot higher. Well, I say a lot. It doesn't look like it now, but there will be probably a lot more divide between them once we get to more characters. Spike, I almost want to put in S tier. I think I'll put him towards the bottom of S tier for right now. Spike is kind of the epitome of human characters done right in Transformers. And of course, it's the first time that it's been done ever, because this is the first time Transformers has ever been a thing. But I really do think that Spike is that perfect encapsulation. Oh, whoops. Sorry, I bumped my mic wire there. He's the perfect encapsulation, I think, of a human character done right in Transformers, where initially, when we first meet him, he's pretty naive, right? Like, this picture right here is the perfect encapsulation of his naiveness, where he's holding on to Soundwave, thinks that he's just a little tape deck that someone left behind, and takes him into the base. And then as he matures and as he gets older, even though this isn't really a show that focuses on his maturity, because it's an episodic series, right? So it's not treating these as overarching stories of a character evolving, right? Like Starscream, I'd probably say, is the only example of that, because Megatron finally gets fed up with him, but then he reverts back to just being a part of the Decepticons by the movie. But anyway, Spike, I think, is a pretty good example of him maturing throughout the show, in that he's pretty naive to the activities of the Decepticons, and he's pretty, I guess just naive is sort of the word that I was really going for there. But then as he goes on, he's a lot more involved with the Autobots' mission and their plans, and helps them out quite a few times, often putting his life on the line. which I think is done much better in season 3 because it sometimes he could feel like a bit of a liability. But then again, I say that, but there are episodes like the Prime Problem, right? When there's the Optimus fake, when Megatron has like the Optimus clone, and then Spike is the one to sneak into the Decepticons' little base there and discover the plan. So was that him in Windcharger? Oh my gosh, I think that was him in Windcharger. That's insane. Shouts out Windcharger for getting an actual spotlight appearance. I don't think it's going to get him out of the bottom of C tier. Actually, you know what? It will. That's insane. I just had a crazy memory there that it was actually Windcharger and Spike who snuck into the Decepticon base there. So yeah, that immediately puts him above all those guys. Sorry, Windcharger. I'm sorry. I wasn't familiar with your game. But no. So yeah, sometimes Spike can be a bit of a liability for the Autobots. Like when it's him and Bumblebee early on in season 1 when they find the space bridge, and then they get captured, and B's, his memory chip gets changed to trap the Autobots. I would say that Spike was a liability there because it was, I guess B was kind of responsible too because he just had his wheels spin out and they fell down the side of the mountain, which made no sense. But anyways, but in season 3, I'd say, and 4, I'd say in the movie as well for his brief appearance, I'd say Spike was a tremendous asset because he's actually contributing to the cause. He's not just a tag along, he can actually be a soldier for the Autobots and also a negotiator when those different species are like trying to mend fences, and Spike and Magnus are there trying to be mediators. So yeah, I think Spike has a lot of amazing moments in the show. Yeah, and then Chip Chase is probably going to be kind of he's going to be kind of low. He'll not, I guess, low on the B tier, kind of right around Ratchet, I'd say. Chip doesn't really make too many appearances in the show. It's really just when they need like a techie to kind of to bridge that gap with human stuff. Like they need like a human level relation with Teletran 1 and whatnot. But of course, Divide and Conquer is a pretty notable appearance for Chip when the Autobots are they have acid rain pouring on them, and Chip motivates them to keep going. And then, yeah, I can't really think of too many other notable appearances after that. I love how Chip just kind of shows up too. Like, again, speaking on the episodic nature of the show, where like we have more than meets the eye to introduce all of our main cast, and then we just bring in new characters as it goes on without much thought. So yeah, it's Chip just kind of shows up, and then he's just working with the Autobots. There's no real mention of how they found him, why he's working with them, and all that. But yeah, it's whatever. And then of course, like I was talking about with Optimus, how there's that iconic line, at least iconic to me, where it's, hang on to your dreams, Chip. The future is built on dreams. So Chip being that one to kind of have maybe a little bit of hope dwindling, and then Optimus with his words of wisdom to kind of inspire him again. I just remembered there's another line that I wanted to speak to with Optimus and Spike in that episode, in the Prime Problem. A couple lines, actually. Prime Problem, I think, is, again, probably a top 5 episode for me. I'd say my probably top 5 episodes of G1 are Divide and Conquer, Prime Problem, Starscream's Ghost, and Ghost in the Machine, and then something from season, or I think Return of Optimus Prime. I'll just clump those together. Probably just Return of Optimus Prime. But no, so in Prime Problem, when Prime comes back after being like knocked out,
and he finds the clone there. He's like, "Oh, what's going on? Is this some kind of game?" And then Spike is like, "It's no game. He says he's Optimus Prime." And Optimus goes, "Then that would make me an imposter." And it's just I love that so much. It's he has so much charm, right? Um, and then at the end of the episode, when Spike gets rescued by Powerglide, and he's like, "Oh, Optimus, is it really you?" And then and Optimus is like, "Yes, it is me. I'm myself, whoever I am." It's moments like that that I think are just so wholesome, and really ground this show in its heart, right? Because the heart of the show is pretty much your Autobot, your main like few Autobots and humans, where it's Spike, Bumblebee, Optimus, and then whoever else is involved in the plot at that time, like Brawn and Perceptor in that one episode. Um, but anyway, I didn't really talk much about Sparkplug. I think for the appearances that he has, I appreciate what he does, and then him being the sort of the focal point of Ultimate Doom, I think is pretty cool. Like he's that bridge between our main cast and then the hypnotized humans working for the Decepticons. Oh, I just realized that Dr. Archival isn't included in this list either. Dr. Archival would probably be like a low B. He didn't really do much. But yeah, I think Sparkplug will probably be kind of right around there. Maybe lower, maybe like right below Skyfire. Because him being this like fixer for the team to like help when, if the medics aren't around, like if Ratchet and Wheeljack are out of play, then Sparkplug is the one that's there to help them. Which is a great thing to have for the characters, because Spike is sort of that like, not necessarily foot soldier in seasons 1 and 2, but he's sort of in that role for the Autobots, and then Sparkplug is like their fixer guy. So if they need it anyway, if again, like I said, if they don't have Ratchet and Wheeljack around. So yeah, I'd probably put Sparkplug at a decently low A, I'd say. All right, we're going to be getting into the Season 2 characters here now. So I'm going to take a quick, small little break. Very, very small. I'm going to have some water, maybe stretch my legs a little bit, and then we will get right back to it. So, all right, be right back, everybody. Alrighty, we are back. I am back, I should say. And yeah, all right, let's keep going here. All right, so we're into Season 2 now. Season 2 is interesting because we have a pretty wide variety of characters compared to what we had in Season 1. So yeah, quite with, we get introduced to lots of new combiners, get introduced to triple changers and bounty hunters and characters who don't really make too many appearances. But yeah, so let's just start off with not Beachcomber, Sea Spray. I was looking at Beachcomber and grabbing onto Sea Spray, so there we go. All right, so we have Sea Spray here. Sea Spray's episode in Season 2 is kind of insane. I don't even know really where to... He's probably going to be right below the Insecticons, so kind of like right above Ratchet.
Sea Spray's episode in season 2 is really just unbelievably crazy, right? Because it's the Atlantis episode, isn't it? Right, where where Sea Spray becomes a merman, like a literal merman. Where I think he gets injured or something, maybe, and he's with this mermaid lady, and he like goes into this place and he just evolves into a human being, a merman being, but he maintains his bubbly voice, which is the most insane visual ever. And I think that's just the one of the most deranged things that the show ever did, and the show did some very deranged things, mind you. If anyone hasn't seen G1, first of all, I highly recommend checking it out, and also it's actually not very hard to access. Where I think on the Transformers official channel, I believe, every episode has been uploaded here on YouTube. So if anyone's wanting to watch G1, it is free available for free, I should say. Well, not, I guess technically for free, but you need Wi-Fi and stuff to do it. So I guess kind of not free, but anyway. So yeah. Sea Spray, probably just B tier for me. Kind of low-ish B tier, mid B tier. Definitely above quite a few of these characters. I think his spotlight episode there was very charming. And then he does sing Sea Spray. He does make a few appearances after. I want to say he makes an appearance in season 3 almost. Or maybe it was in season 2 that I'm thinking of. I think it's the tracks episode actually when he shows up in season 2 when he's like flying over the ocean, and or it's at like a dock, I want to say, and he's like flying around. He's like helping pull cars out of the water and whatnot. So yeah, Sea Spray being that character that's the oceanic Autobot, I think is a great addition to the cast. And then of course, yeah, like I said, his spotlight episode is just absolutely mad. So yeah. Okay, then we have Elita 1, which unfortunately she doesn't make too many appearances in G1, which I think is kind of a bummer, but for the time that she does have, she's awesome. I think I'll probably put Elita kind of right around Ironhide, I want to say. Her first appearance is a pretty cool one, her sort of leading this Autobot resistance team against Shockwave and his army, I guess you could say, on Cybertron. So yeah, and I appreciate the bit of history between her and Optimus as well. It's let me think. I'm thinking back to I want to say it was the second episode of her arc, when there's that flashback to when Optimus is going aboard the Ark and they're getting ready to leave Cybertron, and then Elite is believed to be dead. And I don't know, I kind of had a hard time believing the legitimacy of that scene, just because if you go back and watch More Than Meets the Eye, there's no real urgency to it, I guess you could say, because they're at Iacon, and and Optimus is saying that, or when Prowl asks, when do we begin the search mission? And Optimus goes, as soon as we're ready to launch. And then they launch, and there doesn't seem like there was any urgency in between those scenes, but based on that episode with Elita 1, you would know that that whole scene happened in between those scenes. So I don't know, I kind of have a hard time believing that actually happened. But anyway, Elita 1 was believed dead, and then the Autobots go to Cybertron to help out her team. And she is a great leader role, especially for the Resistance group on Cybertron. I appreciate that kind of stuck for the Netflix series. I know the Netflix series doesn't really get too much love, which I totally understand. I think there's really cool moments with it, but overall it's kind of a lackluster story. But I appreciate that through line where it's when the Ark leaves through the space bridge,
Elita 1 is still on Cybertron leading this resistance group. It didn't really go anywhere, really. It was just kind of a B plot that got done away with pretty quickly. But I appreciate Elita sort of being this resistance group leader figure on Cybertron. So yeah, Elita, and yeah, her connection with Optimus and the history of them being partners before the war really broke out, when Optimus was still Orion and she was Ariel. That's all very good stuff. Then we have Chromia. I almost said Moonracer again, like the Sea Spray Beachcomber thing. I was looking at Moonracer and I was grabbing onto Chromia. Chromia is probably gonna be. I think I'll put her. I think I'll kind of put her right around Hound. I want to say. She pretty much serves the role of being Elita 1's second in command. And she does she's pretty much the like, I don't know, with Elita 1 staying behind at the base. I don't know, that might be a character trait that's kind of holding Elita out of S, I want to say. It's just, I don't really, she seems like a command from behind type leader for whatever reason, just based on that first appearance, because she wasn't there stealing the Energon from Shockwave's vault. It was Chromia, it was Moonracer, and maybe one other. So yeah, it's like, I don't know. I kind of maybe would have preferred it if it was Elita 1 actually leading the charge there, alongside Chromia and Moonracer. But anyway, I appreciate Chromia being in that role, though, having the one to be the one to infiltrate the base. Yeah, then she has a few good character moments after that, and then the connection with her and Ironhide as well is a pretty funny one. So yeah, that's something I like to do in the Reawakening continuity with my series, is have a pretty decent development between Chromia and Ironhide. I was actually working on a script before I did Vendetta. I was working on this script that would have involved Elita 1 being stranded on this planet. So I guess I'm putting this out there. If anyone wants to steal that idea now, go right ahead, I guess. But I had this idea where Elita was stranded on this planet that was basically being marshaled by either Shockwave or Tarn or Bludgeon or someone. And then Optimus and a team would have gone there to rescue her. And then there would have been some moments with Ironhide and Chromia, which that's something I think I'd still like to hone in on, is maybe do a little side story with that. But now that I've done the story that I did in Vendetta, I don't think I'll be doing that Optimus and Chromia, or I'm sorry, Optimus and Elita 1 story, just because it was going to involve Tarn, Elita was going to die, and Optimus was going to fight Tarn. So I kind of already did all that. But yeah, so there we go. There we have Chromia, kind of a mid-B tier. Moonracer is going to be a bit lower. She's going to be kind of around here, I'd say. If I remember correctly, Moonracer was kind of treated as this like rookie type character who's kind of new at the whole thing, and so she makes a few mistakes. Yeah, she makes a few mistakes and has to learn from them, and kind of she has to sort of contend with the rest of her Autobot team to live. So yeah, probably put Moonracer right around there. All right, and then we have Blaster, and Blaster is awesome. Very similar to Jazz, just being the music man of the group is really cool. Blaster, I think I'm actually going to put an A tier. He's probably going to be above, actually kind of right around where Elita is, I'd say. I really like the character work that Blaster has in his appearances in the show. Obviously, the episode with, like we talked about before, with the dance club, with Soundwave running that, and Blaster and I think Trax being involved in shutting that down was a lot of fun. I think it was Trax, right? Yeah, it was Trax. Yeah, it was. That's right, because Raul was in that one as well. Because Raul kind of knew about it and then told Trax about it, and then Trax got Blaster, and then yeah, so on and so forth.
But yeah, so then in the movie, obviously Blaster has some really cool moments during the battle for Autobot City. Him and the rest of his cassettes fighting off Soundwave's cassettes was a lot of fun. And then Blaster kind of goes MIA for the rest of the movie after the battle, because it's when the transmission comes through when they're trying to contact Earth, when Jazz and them are contacting Earth. And then Blaster isn't there for the stuff on Junkion or on Quintessa. So yeah, Blaster just kind of goes away for the rest of the movie, but then comes back in season 3 and has several great moments in there as well. I stress great with the Carnage in C minor episode, not really great, but no, he makes he kind of runs the stuff on Earth, right? He's kind of the Earth's commander in a way, because he's kind of in charge of Metroplex. Great line there with the Five Faces of Darkness with when he says Metroplex is my kind of town. That's a great line. And then I think it was during Ghost in the Machine, when Cup is inspecting on Earth, when he's inspecting Metroplex, and Blaster's like, "Don't worry, Cup, we take our work very serious here," and he leans on a button that starts doing something. So yeah, Blaster is tremendous. Yeah, very, very good character. We have Smokescreen. Admittedly, Smokescreen is a character I don't really remember much about. I just remember his gambling nature, right? That was just kind of his character trait, he was just doing gambling. So I'll probably put him around B tier. That was the episode with DevCon as well, right? Does he show up around here soon? Yeah, he's over there. Okay. Yeah, I don't really remember too much about that episode. I just remember them being on this alien casino world, and I think Smokescreen was cheating or something. And DevCon was there, and I think it was that alien with the eye patch, right? The one that shows up later in season 3, I want to say, or maybe I'm thinking of someone else. I'm not sure. But yeah, don't really remember much about Smokescreen, but I figure I'll just put him kind of right around there in B tier. Trax is awesome. I appreciate Trax getting a couple of spotlight episodes. He'll probably be right at the top of B tier. Yeah, the episode with him and Raul when Trax gets pretty banged up and gets stuck in alt mode, and then Raul is there and pretty much repairs him, and then they stop the car scheme that Megatron had going on, where they were going to steal cars, I think, and turn them into just road ragers, basically. And then having that second episode alongside Blaster with the dance club. Yeah, Trax has a very great relationship with Raul. They're a great partner. They're great partners, just like how Bumblebee and Spike are, I'd say. I'm actually going to put Trax up in A tier. Probably right above Sparkplug, I'll say. And yeah, I'd probably just put Raul top of B tier, I'd say. Kind of pretty relatively close to Trax. Yeah, very, very solid episodes. And yeah, Trax is a character I wish showed up more in season 3, but such is with the toy line. Hoist is tremendous. Hoist might also be an A tier, maybe. I think I'll kind of put him above Swoop, and he's going to be kind of right around Trax, I'll say. Maybe right below Trax. Obviously, he gets his own spotlight episode, his own solo with Hoist Goes Hollywood. Because, I mean, yeah, the episode is named after him, so that's, if anything. Or isn't the Trax episode called Moving Tracks or something? So yeah, the episodes that we get with some spotlight characters are typically named after them, like Hoist Goes Hollywood, Moving Tracks, Changing Gears, so on the Search for Alpha Trion, stuff like that. So yeah, Hoist Goes Hollywood is awesome. Great stuff with Hoist there. When he saves the car, and then the director's like, "All right, we're gonna make you the star of our new motion picture."
And then Hoist brings on, the rest of the Autobot team who show up there. One thing I just want to mention about Trax now that I'm thinking about it, Trax is just Sunstreaker, but infinitely better. Because Sunstreaker is a very similar personality trait to Trax, where he's pretty obsessed with the looks. He's kind of like just Autobot Knockout in a way. Except he isn't a doctor. He's just very like self-obsessed with image. That's kind of what Sunstreaker is. And then Trax just has that personality where he's obsessed with his image and does it infinitely better, I'd say. So yeah, that's kind of a funny thing how Trax kind of just replaced Sunstreaker, and then that was the end of it. But anyway, back to Hoist. I just had to remember that because I think Sunstreaker was one of the aliens in Hoist Goes Hollywood. So I just wanted to mention that. But yeah, so Hoist having that spotlight episode for himself is fantastic, and then him and Grapple building the power tower is also some fun stuff as well. Which, again, I mentioned the Dr. Smooth stuff earlier with the skits with G1, and I highly recommend the one with Hoist and Grapple as well. That one's just so funny, and it's pretty it's a lot more believable with Optimus's reaction to what they did, where he's like, where they ask Prime if they can build their solar power tower, and Optimus is like, nope, sorry, if that got in the hands of the Decepticons, it could be bad news. And they're like, okay, and then they go on to work with the Constructicons, and then Optimus is like, okay, so let me get this straight. I told you not to make the power tower in case it got in the hands of the Decepticons. Then you enlist the Decepticons to help you make it? You guys are idiots. So it's really funny. So yeah, I'd probably put Hoist right about there. And just because he's right here, Grapple, I'm probably going to put somewhere in B tier. He doesn't really get as much spotlight as Hoist does, but I'll probably put him right around where Hound is, I'll say. Okay, so yeah, so that's Hoist and Grapple. Skids, as far as I know, has 0 character. I don't think he shows up a couple of times. I think he's in the Moving Tracks episode. He's a background character. But I'm pretty sure Skids does nothing in the show. He just makes 1 or 2 appearances as a super background character, does nothing, and then never appears again. So yes, that's Skids for you. Then we have Inferno, which Inferno's also probably going to be right around Grapple. It's funny because they're the same body type. But the Red Alert episode is pretty much Inferno's only real big moment, I'd say. Just him being Red's partner and leaves Red behind, and Red gets super stressed out and his circuits fry and all that. Red Alert, my only real memories of the episode just come from, again, the Dr. Smooth stuff, because there was the Red Alert skit that he did, and that is just so hilarious. Where Red is just so convinced that everyone hates him and they're out to get him, which I know is pretty much how the episode goes, but so much funnier in the skit. So I'll probably just put Red Alert kind of right above Inferno. Perceptor is very high up for me. I love Perceptor. He is definitely one of my favorite characters of the show. I might even put him in S tier. I like him more than Ironhide, so I'd probably put him either super top of A tier or bottom of S tier. I love Perceptor, man. I think Perceptor is such an unironically hilarious character in many ways. I talked about it before with the Brawn, with that episode that they had where Brawn just does not like Perceptor at all. And then by the end, he really warms up to him and realizes that the work he does is important. The Cosmic Rust episode, I think from Perceptor's point of view, from Perceptor's perception, I think Perceptor is the standout character of that episode, and everyone else is stupid. I think that every Autobot in that episode is an absolute moron, because Perceptor is clearly afflicted by something. Something is wrong with Perceptor, And Optimus is like, all right, guys, we're going to take every single Autobot inside this ship and go help Perceptor. When Perceptor is clearly infected with something. And then Perceptor's like, no, Optimus, don't get close. You'll be infected by cosmic rust. And Prime's like, I don't care. And then everyone gets infected. There was no effort whatsoever to make it so that, the Autobots kind of just organically get infected. It's nope, everyone goes, and then we all come back. I just think that's so goofy. That Cosmic Rust episode is great for some reasons and awful for others, and I think that's one of the reasons. It's just Prime was not having a good day that day. But anyways, yeah, so Perceptor, again, yeah, so Cosmic Rust, what he does there, developing that chlorophyll, I think. Is that what it was? I think it was called chlorophyll. Developing that and being forced to help Megatron and then being in that position that he was, that's all great stuff. Again, the Brawn episode is amazing, I think, for those characters. Because he's so nonchalant, because Brawn is so insulting towards Perceptor. He's calling him basically a coward straight up, and Perceptor's just kind of no-selling it. He's like, what I do here is important, Brawn. So yeah, I really, really enjoy Perceptor's character in that episode. Then in the movie, I think he's awesome. As a kid watching the movie, I always loved Perceptor, just for that, when he reports to Magnus and he gives him a word salad of a report. In other words, Perceptor, and then Springer, we're outnumbered. And then then him having another word salad later on in the episode when they're going to Junkion. And then his appearances in season 3 I think are awesome as well, like Grimlock's new brain. And I mean, yeah, Perceptor just has so many appearances in season 3, which is awesome. I'm glad that out of the season 2 characters, Perceptor was one of the ones that really stuck around. It was him, Blaster. I don't really count. Well, Grimlock was the season 1 character, so super legacy character in that regard. But no, I appreciate having a few legacy characters around from prior seasons, and Perceptor's chief among them, I'd say. Then we have Powerglide. Obviously, again, we have Powerglide's solo episode. Is it The Girl Who Loved Powerglide, I think is the name of it. Him and Astoria, that relationship is just absolutely insane. It's such a goofy premise that I love so much. I think it's Primetime Animations, right, that did the Powerglide stop motion that had Powerglide and Astoria. And I think that story is a lot better than the G1 story. I mean, of course, because naturally the stop motion is a lot more serious in tone than G1 as a whole. But I think that relationship that they have is a lot better sold than that stop motion that Primetime did. I think that the premise is hilarious. I think Astoria being this like rich brat who just, got everything that she wanted her whole life, and then Powerglide is just telling her no, and she's like, oh, what do you mean no? And then, him saving her on quite a few occasions. And then by the end, warms up to her, opens up his chest panel with the big heart and lights. It's like, oh, this is so goofy. It's so cheesy, but I love it for that. Powerglide's gonna be definitely he actually might be at the top of B. I really like his personality. I think his like sarcastic, like self-obsessed personality that he has is a really fun one. And I feel like I'm kind of bummed that Skylinks kind of took all of that, but at the same time I also like Skylinks a lot. So, but anyway, Powerglide is he's tremendous. Then we have Bliom Warpath. Warpath is awesome as well. Like I had talked about before with Starscream, how he was a pretty standout in the medieval episode with Merlin. Warpath as well. I love Warpath's role in that. He's probably going to be above Gears, I'd say. We're really filling up the B tier here, but that's really just how it goes. Warpath is definitely a character I wish had more appearances in the show. The appearances that he has are awesome. Again, medieval episode's great. Five Faces of Darkness, when he's kind of leading the defense against Trypticon, is
is a really fun sequence. Yeah, he doesn't really make too many appearances after that. He shows up for very, very small time in Five Faces of Darkness Part 1 when Rodimus is at the thing, when he's at the that race. And then he's there with Bumblebee, and he's like, we sure have a strange leader, don't we? Yeah, no, Warpath is great. Definitely got to be very high B for me. Beachcomber, again, Beachcomber actually might be bottom of A, I'd say. Or he's probably kind of above these guys. He's kind of right around Trax. The Golden Lagoon is an unbelievably good episode and tells all the right kinds of messages that it needs to. If Transformers as a show is being pretty subtle, I guess you could say, with its messaging of some situations, I appreciate how Golden Lagoon kind of went all in on it, having this situation where it's, Beachcomber discovers this magical forest, basically, right, in this lagoon that has this liquid that can make the Transformers impervious. And then by osmosis, everyone learns about it, and then there's this big battle at the end that absolutely destroys the lagoon and the homes for all these animals, and it's just absolute carnage. And Beachcomber at the end, sitting there all somber, and he says we won, but there's the undertone of at what cost, right? It kind of tells the horrors of war in a way, and how awful it is that, they might be battling for quote unquote the right cause, but at the end of the day, all the carnage and destruction they cause is, is it worth do the ends justify the means, right? I kind of wish it played a bit more into that. Like, I want to see a modern interpretation of that episode. I think that'd be a really interesting story to tell, I think, because I feel like it would really hone in on that. Like, it doesn't really take the time it needs to settle in that, like, this happened, because it's just the battle is over, Beachcomber's sitting there with smoke and fire everywhere, and then that's the end of the episode. So it doesn't really set in like the after effects of that. So I kind of wish that there was a bit more of that. But no, Beachcomber is amazing. Yeah, that episode was really a defining episode for Beachcomber as a character. Can you just go? There we go. I don't know why I moved him. So yeah, right around Trax, I'd say, is where Beachcomber should go. Cosmos is awesome. Really like Cosmos. Doesn't really get a spotlight episode of his own. I'll probably put him right around Inferno, I'll say. Yeah, I appreciate them having this sort of navigator type of Autobot who can take to the skies, take to space, and analyze for any dangers or see if the Decepticons are up to something outside of Earth. I think Cosmos being in that role is a very fitting one. So yeah, Cosmos is a very, very good character. Goodness, we've already ranked so many, and there's still so many to go, but quite a few of these we won't be spending too much time on. Then we have Firestar. Firestar is just Inferno's love interest. I'm probably just gonna put her. She might be below Smokescreen. I kind of want to put her like a full tier down, not full tier, but like a full character or two over from Moonracer, just because I feel like Moonracer is a lot more development than Firestar does. Firestar just shows up, she's she's Inferno's love interest, and that's it. So yeah, that's basically it for her. Alpha Trion's tremendous. I appreciate him having several appearances over the course of the show. I don't know if I'll put him in S tier. I don't know if he does really enough to really justify that. I'll probably put Alpha Trion kind of right below Blaster, I'll say. Because yeah, Alpha Trion's really just there to impart wisdom, I feel like. And then in the case of the stuff that happens with Vector Sigma, where he sacrifices himself to merge with Vector Sigma, I feel like that was kind of it.
Because yeah, they look for him to help Elita 1, and he kind of does. He doesn't even really help Elita. I think it was really just Optimus hooking up his innards or whatever. He like opens up his chest compartment and takes out the wire and plugs it back into Elita, right, to power her back up. Alpha Trion doesn't really do much in that regard. And then there's the key to Vector Sigma, which he guides them there, and then he sacrifices himself and merges with Vector Sigma to give life to the aerial bots. And that was kind of it. But then he shows up a couple more times in seasons 3 and 4 when Optimus goes into the Matrix to find out a way to undo the hate plague, and then also in season 4, I believe, when Optimus speaks with Alpha Trion, he tells him about the new golden age of Cybertron, right? So yeah, I probably put Trion kind of right around there. Oh, and then of course, how could I forget? He does make quite a few appearances, or not quite a few. He makes 2 appearances in like flashback episodes with Wardon, when Orion gets basically killed, and then the aerial bots bring him to Alpha Trion's workshop, and then in season 3, during the time travel episode there. When they go back to the Quintesson War, he's A3 in that one, and he's pretty much leading the resistance group there. So, yeah, Trion definitely a significant presence in the show, but I don't think he should be an S tier, just kind of right around the top of A. Then we have DevCon, which DevCon is a fascinating character that I really wish appeared a lot more in Transformers media. I'd probably put him above these guys. Above Hound. Hound's kind of like the measuring stick for characters. Like, if they can do more than what Hound did in More Than Meets the Eye, then they're, in their one episode, then, I think they're better than Hound. So yeah, I appreciate the idea of what DevCon is. I just wish there was more of him. I wish he showed up more, especially in season 3, as with season 3 taking place in so many different places. Around the galaxy. I think DevCon making appearances here and there would have been really cool, but unfortunately he's just limited to the one episode with Smokescreen, which isn't a bad thing. It was a good appearance for him, but it's just I wish there was a bit more substantial, more of a substantial role for him. Dion is going to be pretty low here. Probably just above Skids in F tier. Dion doesn't really do anything. I know there's the popular theories out there that he goes on to become Ultra Magnus, which I think is a pretty cool theory, but that it's not anything that's really outright confirmed. So Dion's just there. He's just Orion Pax's best bud that died. Or does Dion die? I don't think he does. Does he? Was he even there? Did Dion even exist? Just like Holler. Was he actually there? Was he a figment of our imaginations? No. Because I remember they showed up. It was when Megatron showed up and blasted Orion and Ariel. Well, excuse me. But I don't recall if he was there for when the shooting actually happened, or if he had left. Just 1 second, I'm just going to take a quick drink of water and then we'll get back to it. Okay. So that's Dion. Probably, top of F tier, I'd say. He didn't really do much at all. So he's just Orion's buddy that shows up once, never shows up again. Alright. Then we have the aerial bots. We have Silverbolt. We have Fireflight. We have, that's Air Raid. We have Silverbolt, Air Raid, Fireflight, Skydive, and Slingshot, and Superion. I think these guys are going to actually be in pretty different spots. So Silverbolt's actually going to be probably towards... I like him more than Skyfire. I like him more than these guys. Cliff, Mirage. I'm actually going to put Mirage behind Cliff.
Um, I think I like Silverbolt's character in G1 more than Elita 1 as well. Um, yeah, it's actually kind of surprising that he ended up there, but I'm actually kind of glad he did, because yeah, Silverbolt I think is a great character for this show, especially being one. Excuse me 1 second. Let me just turn this down a little bit. Turn the music down just a wee bit. Hopefully it's still decently audible. But yeah, so Silverbolt, I appreciate the growth that he goes through during Key to Vector Sigma part 2, I think. When he's the one that kind of keeps the aerial bots in line, where the aerial bots have this, new life, and they're trying to decide what to do with it, and they're pretty, they're almost convinced that Megatron is, not even a bad guy, and Silverbolt's trying to prove to them that Megatron is evil and that the Autobots are doing good and that we should be Autobots because that's, not only what we were made for, but it's the right thing to do. So I appreciate that character beat for Silverbolt, but I also appreciate him being afraid of heights, afraid of flying. I think that's a very bold thing to do for a show like this. It's not like the most deep thing ever. It's not the most deep of a character trait to expand on. But I appreciate them going with that for a character whose sole purpose is to be a flyer. So I think that's really cool for Silverbolt. Air Raid doesn't really have too much. Air Raid is probably just going to be kind of around here, I'd say. A little bit above, probably be above Ratchet. Same with Fireflight. Excuse me. Skydive's going to be around there too. And then Slingshot's actually going to be a bit higher because Slingshot being this sort of antagonistic force towards Silverbolt, because Slingshot's kind of the one that leads the anti-Autobot stuff at first, right? When they're, considering if they actually want to be Autobots or not. I appreciate Slingshot being the one to really question that and then what is going on here? This is an insane image. This is crazy. I have never seen anything like this before in my life. Why does his chest look like that? Okay, Leader 1, calm down. Yeah, I've always felt that Slingshot looks a lot like Leader 1 from GoBots. I don't know if that's by design or not, but I imagine with the excuse me, the new Slingshot figure from Age of the Primes that's coming out, I wouldn't be too surprised if they turned him into Leader 1. In like a Generation Selects figure or whatnot. But anyways, yeah, so Slingshot I think is actually quite a bit higher than these guys just because I appreciate what he did in that one episode. And then, then the rest of them kind of go through similar things with the War Dawn episode. So there's not really anything too crazy that happens with them. They're all kind of on the same playing field. So that is the aerial bots. And then we have Superion. Superion is just going to kind of be in a... I don't know. Superion's kind of difficult. Because with the Constructicons, where I feel like they shine better as part of Devastator, I almost feel like it's the other way around for the aerial bots, where I appreciate them more as individual characters than I do with them all united. So I'll probably put Superion kind of right below Slingshot, I guess. Because, I don't think Superion is really much of a character so much as he is just a force of nature in a way. He is the antithesis to Menasor. In my brain I thought I said Motormaster, but no, I was right on that. So I think, Superion isn't too much of a character, I don't think, really, in the show. But his appearances are great, and he's, a great foil to the Decepticons who don't have a combiner on hand or whatnot. But as a character, I don't think Superion's really anything crazy. And maybe that's kind of by design, right? Where the Constructicons individually, they're subservient soldiers for Megatron.
but then when they unite, they're this big force of nature. So maybe that's kind of by design for them to not have much personality on their own. But then for the aerial bots, they're better individually, even though I do have them lower than the Constructicons. But I think I'm okay with that placement. I think that I think I'm actually gonna put Slingshot up there, and then Superion's gonna be above Red Alert. I want to get them closer to the Constructicons. But anyway, so there we have it. And then for the Autobot other combiner team that we have here, we have for Defensor, we have Hotspot, we have Streetwise, we have Blades, we have Groove, and we have First Aid. Hotspot's going to be pretty high up as well. I think I like the I like the Protectobots as characters more than the aerial bots, I think. But it's really just these two. First Aid is actually going to be probably A tier. Kind of right around here. Yeah, First Aid is actually going to be pretty high up as well. Maybe right around there. Kind of right around Mirage and Cliff Jumper. Hotspot, I think, is going to be right around B. I appreciate Hotspot. I think he's a great team. I think he's probably the best team leader of each of the combiner groups. And then First Aid, the character work that he has in season 3 with that one episode, it's the ultimate weapon, I think, right? That episode is awesome. That's a great episode for First Aid, especially with his pacifism gets in the way. He does not want to fight at all. He's just the medic, and that's all he wants to be. And that allows Swindle to steal Metroplex's transforming cog. And then First Aid gives up because he feels like he can't, be a contributing member of the team because of his pacifism. And then Hotspot pretty much accepting that and trying to work around it along with the rest of the Protectobots. And then First Aid, pretty much coming to terms with that and rejoin the team. That's all awesome stuff. I don't think the rest of the Protectobots really get nearly as much, though. So they're actually going to be pretty low. They're going to be pretty much teetering on C tier, actually. I think I actually might put the Protectobots in C tier. Blades, I'll put them a bit higher, and Groove isn't really much. So yeah, they really don't have much. Actually, they might be even lower. Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate, but yeah, I think Blades is probably the top here. Yeah, I think that's actually kind of fair. Because yeah, the rest of the Protectobots really don't have anything. It's just Hotspot and First Aid who get all that, all those levels of development, and the rest of them are just kind of there for the ride. Defensor, probably somewhere in B tier, right? Probably kind of around Superion, I'd say. Yeah, I think that would be fine. All right, we're almost at the end of season 2. We've just got the rest of the Decepticons to go, and then we'll be into season 3, a little bit of the movie, and then season 4. All right, we're almost there. Almost there. Okay, so we have... I'm sorry, I just had to see something real quick, because I just saw a Wreck-Gar, and I want to see... they don't have any of the other Junkions, do they? Okay, good. I was going to say, there aren't really any other Junkion characters, per se. All right, Omega Supreme is great. That his spotlight episode was at the Secrets of Omega Supreme. That flashback part, even though it makes no sense in the story, because in season 1, I believe the general consensus is that the Constructicons were built by Megatron on Earth after the crash. And then in season 2, that gets thrown out the window in that the Constructicons and Omega Supreme were best buds before they were taken over by Megatron, and then their minds were wiped. And then I think there's like another flashback sequence when it shows Megatron being made, and the Constructicons are there making Megatron. So it's like, all right, what is happening? But anyway, so yeah, Omega Supreme I think has some really great character development in that one episode. And then his other appearances that he shows up in as well are, even though he doesn't have as much prominence as he does in Secrets, I appreciate his character a lot, and being that giant titan of a character, who actually doesn't really fight all that much. I think he fights Devastator maybe in Secrets of Omega Supreme, maybe. But when Skyfire pretty much just took a backseat and just never showed up again, I assume that it was just his toy being swapped out. Then Omega Supreme really took over that role in spades. Even though his transformation makes so little sense, where he transforms to the rocket ship with the launch pad, flies over to Cybertron, and then even though that launch pad is still on Earth, he's still able to fully transform. That doesn't make any sense, but anyway, they probably should have just stuck with Skyfire on that one. But no, Omega's a great character. Yeah, I think around there, towards the high end of B is pretty solid. Carly is a good character as well. Excuse me. Her the stuff with Ironhide during the Immobilizer episode is great. Her pretty much convincing Ironhide to get back to the fight is a lot of fun. And then her being involved with Spike as his girlfriend for later episodes like Hoist Goes Hollywood and all that. That's all fun stuff. So yeah, I'll probably put Carly kind of around Chip Chase, to be honest. She doesn't really contribute too much to the story. It's just when she's there, like, again, it's really just the Ironhide episode when she really has her like standout moment, which I believe is her first appearance. But after that, she's pretty much just a tag along. Just a tag along really most of the time alongside Spike. So, and she does make a handful of appearances in season 3 as well, and that's pretty much the same case as season 2, where she's just tagging along, hanging out with Spike and Daniel. So. All right, then on to the Decepticons. We have quite a few combiners here, but also a few new individual new characters. We have Astro Train. Astro Train's fantastic. Triple Takeover is an awesome episode. I know I gave my top 5 earlier, but Triple Takeover is in the top 10 for sure. Astro Train, I think, will go probably right around the top of B. Yeah, Astro Train is... him pretty much taking over this train depot and reprogramming all the trains as his own loyal army is very hilarious. It made no sense. Excuse me. It made no sense realistically, but I mean, realism's just thrown out the window at this show. But him just reprogramming the trains to follow his orders was very hilarious. And that I think he has a few more good moments, like when they go to that. I think it's the episode that has Jazz and Omega Supreme in them. When they go to that like asteroid colony, I think Cosmos is there too. Oh, I think it's the Cosmos episode, right? I forgot all about the Cosmos episode, where he gets like heralded as like a god, right? So actually, Cosmos is going to go up a little bit. Cosmos is going to go up there. But yeah, so I know Astro Train was around for that because he was like, "No, I'm your god. I am Astro Train." So I think that was good stuff for him. Of course, him being old reliable at the end of the Battle of Autobot City in the movie when he's the one to get the Decepticons out of there. Jettison some weight, or we'll never make it to Cybertron. I think he was the one putting the crown on Starscream's head there at the ceremony. And yeah, then he makes quite a few appearances doesn't make too many appearances in season 3. Just really in Five Faces of Darkness is probably his most notable. When he brings back some Energon and he's like half transformed and Menasor kicks him away. And then he goes, the days of Megatron were never like this. And Cyclonus, you mean Galvatron? And Astro Train goes, oh, they were the same guy. That's an interesting premise, I guess, to establish, is that the Decepticons know that Megatron is Galvatron. But anyway, yeah, Astro Train, I'd say towards the top of B. And Blitzwing, I'd probably put higher. He's probably in A.
I think that Blitzwing, again, in Triple Take, I think Blitzwing is probably the best part of Triple Takeover. I don't even. I think that might just be objectively true. Is that Blitzwing was the best part of Triple Takeover with the him taking over the sports auditorium, right? And he's got the coach that he like sticks in the locker, and he's asking him for battle strategies because the coach is like coaching football, and Astro Train like takes over the football field and turns it into his personal base of operations, and he has the Constructicons build this giant maze for the Autobots to get lost in. I think Skids was in that, maybe. That was one of his 2 appearances. But yeah, that's just that dynamic with Astro Train and not Astro Train, Blitzwing and the coach was extremely funny. And then Blitzwing in Five Faces of Darkness in season 3, when the Quintessons are pretty much guiding the Autobots and Decepticons to their doom, and Blitzwing learns the truth and basically turns on the Decepticons and never shows up again. Which I think I read somewhere, maybe I saw in a video, that Blitzwing was originally going to be Shockwave before Shockwave was killed off in the movie. So there you have that. I don't know if that's true or not, but I can understand that. Excuse me. I can understand that having some truth to it, given that Shockwave was dedicated to protecting Cybertron in Megatron's absence, and then the Quintessons are trying to destroy all of it. So, but yeah, so I kind of wish Blitzwing would have shown up again, because then he just kind of became Octane, right? Because Octane is the one that takes over and does the stuff with Tripticon, with stealing all the monuments and getting kicked out of the Decepticons, and then the Starscream's ghost stuff happens, and linking up with Sandstorm and all that. So it's kind of weird how Blitzwing's, all of his character stuff that he could have had in season 3 was just given to Octane, which I like Octane a lot, so I'm okay with it, but I kind of wish Blitzwing got a bit more of that. Okay, then we have the Coneheads. We have Thrust, we have Dirge, and Ramjet. Thrust and Ramjet are kind of gonna go, no. Probably gonna put them right around there, maybe. Actually, no. They're gonna be right behind the Insecticons. I think Ramjet's gonna be at the top. And Thrust will be at the bottom. Dirge a little bit in the middle. I think Ramjet having a bit of a solo run with Starscream and Rumble in the Merlin episode was a lot of fun. Wait, was it? It wasn't Thrust, was it? Oh no, I haven't misled myself, have I? I feel like it was Ramjet. Oh, that's right. Whoops, I forgot I tied my mute button to M. I don't know. I'm just gonna pretend that it was Ramjet. It might have been Thrust. I can't remember. I think it was Ramjet. So yeah, we're gonna keep Ramjet up there. And yeah, Dirge is cool because he had the movie stuff, right? In Hoist Goes Hollywood. It's like, hey guys, let's make home videos. And he's got that cool line where he's got, death comes to anyone who crosses me in Five Faces of Darkness. Even though that line amounted to nothing because they ran away, and then got shot down or blown up. And then yeah, I feel like Thrust just kind of falls to the wayside when it comes to the rest of those two. They don't really have too many appearances, but I feel like their appearances amount to more than these two, than the Seekers. So yeah, it's kind of strange. Okay, Buzzsaw. I don't care for Buzzsaw. She's just Laserbeak 2.0. Buzzsaw doesn't really do anything. Just shows up a couple of times, and yeah, he's just Laserbeak's semi-replacement, even though Laserbeak still gets used more, I feel like. So yeah, Buzzsaw doesn't really serve any role. Then we have the Stunticons, and Stunticons are probably going to mostly go in the same spot. They're probably going to be kind of around here, right above Red Alert and Inferno here. I think Dead End is going to be higher. Drag Strip's going to be probably towards the bottom. Wild Rider's going to be up there. Um, yeah, probably do that, and then Motormaster will be at the top. Um, actually, Motormaster is going to be a pretty decent bit higher, actually. Um, probably right around here, maybe right above Warpath. Um, I like Dead End's pessimistic personality the most out of the Stunnicons, so that's why he's the highest for me. And then Wild Rider just being the insane one of the group as well. And then Breakdown and Dragstrip are kind of in the same ballpark for me. I don't really have too much love for their characters. And then then Motormaster is definitely a big highlight of the show. Can rank all Transformers Prime characters next time. That is actually a great idea. I think I might do that. It might be. Yeah, I'm thinking Transformers Prime animated's definitely got to be in there somewhere, and then probably also the Bayformers. Yeah, probably somewhere around there. Yeah. So yeah, that's actually a very likely possibility that I'll do Prime next time. So yeah, that's a great idea, Marvelous. Thank you for that. But yeah, Motormaster, I think towards the top of B. I appreciate he's got like, he's got his craziness to him, but then there's also that in at the start of season 3 when he's saying, what we need is a great leader. The Autobots had a great leader. Or, what we need is a competent leader, or whatever he says. So yeah, I appreciate Motormaster being the one that's kind of, he's loyal to Galvatron, and he gives to the cause when he takes that Energon out, or he has that Energon cube that he donates to the cause. So yeah, Motormaster is I think pretty high up there, high up in B. Menasor is probably just going to be with the rest of the combiners, to be honest. The rest of these season 2 combiners, I think a bit higher, because I think I like the premise of Menasor more. And that episode, Masquerade, when the Autobots go undercover as the Stunnicons and try to fool Megatron, and then they have Menasor versus Menasor. I think that was very great stuff. So yeah, I probably put Menasor towards the top there. I'm actually, I think, going to put him above Slingshot. So yeah, probably right around there. Okay, then we have the Combaticons, which I know Vortex actually just got revealed, and he's up for pre-order. I want to do that. I want to pre-order Vortex. I actually own most of the Stunnicons. I own all the limbs, but I don't have Motormaster. I think I might actually try to sell the Stunnicons, because I don't really have any interest in getting them anymore. With Bruticus coming out maybe next year, I kind of want to just go all in on Bruticus. So yeah, I might be selling the Stunnicons at some point. But anyway, I digress. The Combaticons are awesome, made by Starscream. I'm still not really sure what they are. Like, did Starscream give them their names, or were they already all of them when they were in that, like, basically that, not like that personality chip prison, I guess, when Starscream went up there and stole all of their personality chips? Like, were those all Brawl, Onslaught, Vortex, Swindle, and Blastoff, or did he just name them, but they just had those personalities? I don't know. But yeah, probably high B, I want to say. I think the Combaticons are my favorite, especially in G1. I'd say I think they're my favorite Decepticon combiner group. Brawl is up there. Swindle's towards the top. I think they actually might be in different spots. Interestingly enough, I know I kind of keep the combiners close together, but these actually might be pretty spread out. Yeah, Swindle I think I might put above Astro Train. Brawl can kind of be around here. Actually, no, Brawl's going to be lower. Brawl doesn't really get too much. I'm actually put Brawl above Dragstrip and Breakdown. And then Blastoff is going to be kind of close. He might be kind of around Slingshot, I'll say. Vortex will be higher. I like Vortex's personality, him being the interrogator of the group. like an ultimate weapon when they're going to steal Metroplex's transformation cog, and Vortex is the one interrogating them. I think that was a very good scene. Um, so yeah, Vortex is probably going to be around here somewhere. And then Onslaught is also, he's going to be higher. Really enjoy Onslaught's personality. I do think I like Swindle more than Onslaught. So yeah, I'll probably keep him around there, maybe. Kind of around there. Yeah, we have so many in B tier. Don't worry, there will be more in A and probably S tier as well. But and there will be more in C and C and F tier as well. Bruticus is, I think, better than the rest of these combiners. I think better than Menasor, Defensor, and Superion. I appreciate Bruticus being really viewed as this big menace to both Autobots and Decepticons. Revenge of Bruticus is a great episode for that very reason, where he goes to Cybertron and basically just wreaks havoc and pretty much takes over for that brief period of time. I think his only downfall is just having those 3 buttons on his back that disassembles him, which I think is stupid. I think it's a very bad idea for that. But anyway, so yeah, Bruticus probably right above Swindle, I'd say. Okay, then we're moving on to the movie and season 3 characters. So once again, just like before, I'm just going to take a quick little break here, quick little water break. Then we'll get right back to it and get through these guys. Alrighty. Alright, so starting off, we have Ultra Magnus, and Ultra Magnus is absolutely A tier. Extremely high. He might even be S tier. I actually think Ultra Magnus is S tier. I'm going to put him above Shockwave. I think I'm going to move Jazz below Grimlock. I'm going to put Magnus above Jazz. I don't know if I put him above Grimlock. I think I actually do. Above B? Yeah, I think so. Magnus in the movie is amazing. I appreciate his reluctance to taking the Matrix and not believing himself to be worthy, despite him proving to be a pretty competent commander during the Battle of Autobot City. At least from that scene when we see him, directing traffic, telling everyone where to go. In season 3, Magnus is one of the biggest highlights, I'd say, of the series. Magnus is really the leader of the Autobots in season 3, I'd say. Where Rodimus is the legitimate leader, we see Magnus more than Rodimus throughout the show, I believe. We see him in lots of different situations and in lots of different circumstances, and he really just rises to the occasion. And yeah, I think Magnus is just an incredible character. Out of all the characters that did not return from season 3 to season 4, I am so glad Magnus came back, so we could actually see him with Optimus, because that's something we don't really see at all in the movie. It's just when they're in the same room is when Optimus is dying. So I appreciate Magnus and Optimus having some screen time together in season 4. For the Rebirth anyway. I thought that they had some good moments together, even though Optimus I don't think was very good in the Rebirth. I appreciate him and Magnus having screen time together. So yeah, Magnus definitely S tier. And the episode with Daniel and Wheelie trying to find out Magnus's birthday so that they could celebrate him because of all the good that he's done for the team. I think that's a great episode and really great stuff with Magnus. Where he's like, oh, my birthday, I don't even know that, and then they make that day his birthday, and then they celebrate him. And yeah, it's just lots of really awesome moments for Magnus in the show. Then we have Hot Rod / Rodimus Prime, Rodimus Prime, if you will. This is tough. Going off of the movie alone, I would put him probably towards S tier. But I also have to factor in season 3, unfortunately. and I think season 3 is not great for Rodimus Prime. Um, this is tough. He's probably right around there, middle of A, I'd say. Or I guess that's high A, but like kind of middle on this bar here. I do not like Rodimus at all, really, in season 3. Um, the few things that spring to mind are the Paradron episode where where the planet explodes. The planet is destroyed. And Sandstorm is, remarking about it, how, as beautiful in life as it is in death. And Rodimus says, "Oh, no need to get so mushy. Cybertron's a better planet anyway. It's not so perfect." And I know if anyone hasn't seen G1, that might sound ridiculous for me to say that the leader of the Autobots said that, but it's true. Rodimus verbatim said that exact line. No need to get mushy. Cybertron's a better planet anyway. It's not so perfect. And that's the end of the episode, mind you. And Rodimus has coming of age moment with that. There's no remorse for that. That's it. And then I think Burden Hardest to Bear is a good introspective thing with Rodimus, and how he's challenged by his role as a leader, and he gives up the Matrix and just wants to be Hot Rod again. But then eventually he realizes the importance of his responsibility. And then the next episode, or I think the next episode, is the return of Optimus Prime. And and then he just gets pretty much usurped as leader. So yeah, I don't think Rodimus had very many great moments in the show. But the movie, I think the movie is awesome. I think Hot Rod in the movie is tremendous. Very, very good character. And then by the end, when he really steps up and takes that leader role, I think is really good. I just don't think he has too many great moments for season 3. The episode when Daniel's having nightmares, I think Hot Rod's sticking around with Daniel because they have so much history from years past and that we see at the start of the movie. I think that was a really nice character beat for him, that they remembered that. That Hot Rod and Daniel were best buds. And then... I mean, I guess in Five Faces of Darkness, he has a few decent moments, but him, like, I don't know. It's tough. Hot Rod, as an overall character, I think is where he is right now. But if I was basing it just off of season 3, he'd probably be a very low B, possibly even C tier. Because he just does not. I don't understand why the writing was the way that it was for Rodimus, to make him such an unlikable character. And then like when Optimus came back in Dark Awakening, and Rodimus is just like, all right, Optimus is here, let's give him the Matrix, I'm Hot Rod again, let's party. It's just very, not the best. Blur is fine. Blur is he's the Jar Jar Binks of Transformers, in G1 anyway. So Blur's a fine character. I'd probably put him kind of a high B, I guess. Kind of around there, maybe. Probably above Swindle. That's a pretty decent spot for him. I appreciate in Five Faces of Darkness him and Wheelie working together to get Metroplex's transformation cog. That was some pretty cool stuff. And then working with Fairborn. Honestly, that's actually kind of it. Blair doesn't really have too many moments after that. I think his next big moment was in Rebirth, if memory serves me right. Because I don't really remember him having too big of a role in season 3. He did make quite a few appearances. It's just he didn't really have to. He was just kind of there, like on Cybertron doing stuff or whatever it may be, right? I think Blur is a fine enough character to go into B tier. And then we have Cup. Cup's fantastic. I love him being the veteran that's got lots of stories to tell. Um, yeah, Cup's definitely very high up. I'd say on A tier. Probably above Hot Rod. Yeah, kind of right around there, right next to Alpha Trion. Um, in the movie, I think Cup is amazing. Him and Hot Rod having this sort of partnership that they go through throughout the movie, I think is really cool. Um, I love his line. I knew you had potential, lad. And then the Chaos episode is a lot of fun. The Five Faces of Darkness, his stuff with Ultra Magnus and Spike when they get captured by the Quintessons is a lot of fun. Um, and then showing up again. He again kind of like Blur. He just shows up sort of occasionally, and he's sort of well his role is like lead chief of security on Cybertron, right? So yeah, pretty much whenever things happen on Cybertron that need Cup's attention, he's there for it. I think he was also there for Dark Awakening, alongside the rest of the Autobots when Prime comes back the first time. And yeah, I think that's a pretty solid place for Cup. I think it's really the movie that puts him above and beyond, but he also has some pretty good moments throughout. I don't know why Goldbug is considered a different character from Bumblebee. It's the same guy. Uh, he's right there. I don't know. It's the same person. I'm putting him. I like personally. I don't know if this is a hot take or not. I like Goldbug more than Bumblebee. I wish that Goldbug was around in more media. Being the same character, I mean, being that it's Bumblebee, just different, coat of paint, different name, different look. So yeah, I do like Goldbug more in G1, but again, it's the same character, so just put him right there. RC also fantastic. Her bond with Springer is really cool. The character moments that she has with Daniel in Rebirth, it's kind of weird, but in other episodes in season 3, it's very good. Probably put her. I think RC definitely goes above Cup. Ironhide's a tricky one to topple. Ironhide's been there pretty much since the start of the stream. RC will be very close though. She'll be right behind Ironhide. But no, RC is again, especially in the movie, just like Cup and Hot Rod in them. It's very not Magnus though. I feel like Magnus is a lot better in season 3 than he is in the movie. But the same can't really be said for much of the other cast. But no, RC, especially in the movie, was tremendous. Very much holding her own alongside the other Autobots. Which is great for the time, I'd say, because having Alita 1 only appear for a couple episodes in season 2 was fine enough, but having RC be in this very important role in a movie, in an animated film in 1986 is a really big thing, I'd say. So RC being this real, I guess, trendsetter for Transformers is really, really cool. Yeah, her role in the movie was awesome. And then, yeah, the appearances that she does occasionally make. Well, I think she actually does make quite a few appearances in season 3. But yeah, she has a pretty substantial role in the supporting cast for season 3 and is great there. And again, like I said, in season 4, it's kind of weird at the end when they do the headmaster stuff. Her relationship with Daniel is kind of strange in that one. So I won't really count that for this. Is Daniel on this list? He is. Okay. I was like, okay, how many humans are we leaving out here? Springer is fine. Much better in the movie. I don't really think he has too much going for him in the show. He doesn't really make too many appearances. He's around for Five Faces of Darkness. The episode when I think it's the Dweller in the Depths. I think that's the name of the episode. And then after that, he's not around for Rebirth. And yeah, he doesn't really make too many appearances in season 3 either. I think his best stuff is in the movie, which, yeah, that's kind of it for Springer. I think a high B tier is probably the best I can do for him. It's interesting what they were trying to go for with Springer, because I remember him being compared to a sort of like a Han Solo type character, but I never really saw that.
I never really understood that comparison. And RC has kind of got the Princess Leia, hair thing going on, but I don't. I understand that more for RC than I do Han Solo for Springer. So that's just kind of whatever. But yeah, Springer, I'd say probably about there in B tier. He doesn't really have too much character work. Um, Pipes is great. I love Pipes. I'm very biased towards Pipes. I love medics, and I know I talked about this before with the Clone Trooper stream when I was talking about kicks. How I really like medic characters in media, and the same applies here with Pipes. But Pipes really hardly makes any appearances in G1. Probably 3 total. I think he's better than Huffer. Better than Firestar, better than Smokescreen. Not better than Moonracer, though. So yeah, Pipes will be right about there. I appreciate a good medic character when I see one, but unfortunately he doesn't really make too many appearances. Yeah, First Aid's kind of like the medic of season 3, and yeah, Pipes just isn't really that. He's like he's the Ratchet to Wheeljack, right? Like I was saying before, how Wheeljack is basically the main like medic guy, even though he's the scientist. He ends up doing a lot of medic stuff, and Ratchet's just kind of his partner in crime. That's kind of the same thing with First Aid and Pipes, except they don't really associate with one another at all. It's like, yeah, First Aid is medic number 1, Pipes is medic number 2. Then we have Outback. Outback is fine. Again, doesn't really make too many appearances. He's there for the Quintesson Journal, I think, alongside Blaster, which is cool. They have a good partnership. Probably put him above Red Alert, maybe above some of these guys. Yeah, probably right about there, I'd say. Yeah. Let's see. Then we have Tailgate. Tailgate is an F tier. Tailgate doesn't have a character in the show. He just shows up for 10 seconds. I'd say he's right above Hauler, not quite the bottom. Same thing with Swerve as well. They're just there. Their only appearance really in the show is during the defensive Autobot or defensive Earth against Trypticon. In Five Faces of Darkness, and I don't think they ever show up again. So yeah, they're just there to get the toys on screen, and then they never show up again. So there's that. Then I believe this is Scamper, who's one of the few bots alongside Metroplex. Scamper's in the same boat. Doesn't really appear at all. Scamper actually might be bottom of F tier. Scamper does less, I think, than Hauler does, because at least Hauler pulls Hound out of the dirt. I don't think Scamper does anything. Six Gun is pretty much right around here. I'd say probably put him right above Groove, maybe above Streetwise as well. Actually, yeah, no, because again, Six Gun only shows up one time when he's asking the bots if they stole the thing or whatever. Then we have oh shoot, no, oh my gosh, Slammer, thank you, me. We have Slammer, who is pretty much in the same boat as Scamper. They're just there, they don't do anything. All right, then we have the Throttle Bots. I'm not good with these ones' names. This is Wide Load. Actually, I might be good with their names. This is Wide Load. This is Roll Bar. This is Searchlight. That's the blue one, and that's Chase, I think, right? Okay, so Wide Load is gonna be here, probably about there. Actually, no, he's gonna be lower. He's gonna be above. Just put Blades with the rest of them. I'll just put Six Gun right there. Yeah, so they'll be right there. Roll Bar we'll just put right there. Searchlight we'll put right there. The blue one we'll put right there. And then Chase will put at the bottom there. The Throttle Bots really didn't do anything in G1. They just showed up. They were there. They were Bumblebee's little unit, and then they all get trashed during that first battle for Earth in Rebirth. I think they show up briefly during the Return of Optimus Prime Part 1. and maybe even part 2 during the Hay Plague stuff, but they don't really do much. Daniel's fine. Yeah, Daniel's whatever. Probably like right above Carly, I'd say. Nah. Put him kind of above these guys. Put him above the Coneheads. He does a bit more than them, I'd say. Okay, Metroplex. Metroplex, I don't think is going to be as high as Omega Supreme. Where is Omega Supreme? Here. I don't think he's going to be that high, because really Metroplex's sole purpose in the show is just to be the antithesis to Trypticon. So I think I'll put Metroplex kind of around the Combiners, I want to say. I'll probably put him above Superion. Because, yeah, Metroplex he's mostly just a plot device, right? Where in Five Faces of Darkness, Blur and Wheelie are trying to get the transformation cog back to Metroplex, right? So he's stuck in city mode. And then they get the cog to him, he transforms, he fights Trypticon a little bit, then throws him into the ocean. And then I think he, like, during the I think when the Octane episode, when him and Trypticon steal the monuments, I think that's what this frame is from. I think same with the rest of the guys, a part of Metroplex's group, Six Gun, Slammer. Wait a minute, whoa! It makes the picture. Whoa, that's cool. It's kind of a little more zoomed in, but you see where this is at here. It's the same scene there. That's actually kind of cool. Anyway, that's probably the only frame that Slammer is in. So they had to work with something. But anyway, so yeah, there was the episode when Trypticon steals the monuments or whatever. And then maybe Metroplex shows up one more time. Oh yeah, it was the ultimate weapon when Swindle steals Metroplex's cog. Spike and Daniel steal Trypticon's cog. They can't transform, so they're kind of just stuck in battle station mode. So yeah, Metroplex and Trypticon by extension are really just, or actually no, Trypticon I think is more of a character. Anyway, Metroplex is really just a plot device more than anything, but for his appearances, he does quite a bit, so it's fine. And then his eyes get stolen by Starscream as well. Okay, then we have Ramhorn and Steeljaw. These are Blaster's boys. They don't really do too much. I'm probably just going to put them around Frenzy. They don't really get too much time to shine. I think Ramhorn is probably the best one out of the group. I'll just put the rest of them there too. Here we have Eject and Rewind. I'll put that guy up there. Whichever one they are. I don't know which one's which. I think the blue one is Rewind, or is it Eject? I don't know. It's one of them. But anyway, so yeah. So goodness, look how loaded B tier is. Gotta start putting more folks in S tier. We'll get there. Wheelie is fine. Kind of, not really. Willie's just sort of annoying. He'll just go sort of around there, right next to these guys. I'd say is he doesn't really Dang it, I'll just put him right next to Daniel. I don't really want to put Wheelie above the Coneheads or Sea Spray or all them, but I feel like Wheelie has a bit more character work done in the show, like when he's working with Blur. And then when he's with Daniel and they're trying to find Ultra Magnus's birthday and all that stuff. And then the movie when he's, with the Dinobots. I think in the movie he's at his worst, but it's whatever. Broadside is F tier. Broadside really doesn't do anything. I think he shows up twice, and one scene he's fighting, was it Bruticus or Devastator in the ocean? And then the next he has a different head. I think that's Carnage in C minor. But yeah, I'll probably just put him towards the bottom of C tier. Probably, yeah, kind of right around there. Yeah, right there. Bottom of C tier. Sandstorm's pretty cool. The Paradron stuff, again, I talked about it with with Rodimus, when he's just, totally killing the mood. But no, I think Sandstorm's pretty cool. I appreciate, again, the sort of like pacifist Autobot type thing that they were going for the time.
So they're doing it with First Aid, they're doing it with Sandstorm. So yeah, I think that was cool. And then when Octane is on the run from the Decepticons and he goes to Earth, and then Sandstorm's there to help him out a little bit, helps him acclimate to the Autobot way of things, and they're hanging out. So yeah, no, I like Sandstorm's character. The Paradron stuff is definitely where he has the most character work done. And also, it's weird. If anyone, I don't know if it's this way with the YouTube upload, but the episodes are out of order. Go figure with G1. But the episodes are out of order with Sandstorm stuff, because the Octane Starstream's Ghost comes first, and then the Paradron episode. I think it's Fight or Flee is the name of that episode, and then Fight or Flee, which doesn't really make much sense because that's their first time when they meet Sandstorm. So it's like, okay, why is Sandstorm on Earth and then he's on Paradron? So yeah, so I think Sandstorm's a fine character, probably a beat. Skylynx is cool. I like Skylynx a lot. Him getting this sort of spotlight-ish role throughout season 3 is really cool. He's got to be an A tier for me. I think I like him more than Skyfire. I like him more than Devastator and these guys. Probably put him right next to Hot Rod. Yeah, I appreciate his sort of like sassy nature that he has. He kind of, like I said when I was ranking Powerglide, he kind of just took Powerglide's character traits, where he's like pretty snarky and sarcastic and self-obsessed. But I think Skylynx maybe does it better, but I wish it was a bit more with Powerglide. I wish they were a bit different, I guess, in a way. Also, I think that the Transformers the Game soundtrack has just ended, so let me go ahead and put on something else here. Let me find something real quick. Let me do... What can we do? Is Revenge of the Fallen... Is there a game soundtrack full? Is there a... something here? Let's see. Revenge of the Fallen music mix. Here it is. Revenge of the Fallen OST PS3. There we go. Alright, cool. Anyway. Where was I? Skylynx. So yeah, I like Skylynx's stuff in Five Faces of Darkness when he's there with Fairborn and all that. I think it's Quintesson Journal when he's working with Blaster and Outback, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Call of the Primitives, he's kind of leading the charge alongside Grimlock. And Return of Optimus Prime, he kind of spearheads that as well, getting Prime to the plant where Hot Rod is. And yeah, Skylynx just makes it's another evolution, right? Where we go from season 1 where we have Skyfire, then we have season 2 with Omega Supreme, and then season 3 we have Skylynx. So it's just another progression in the Autobot transportation line. So yeah, no, I think Skylynx is pretty deserving, I'd say, of A tier. I appreciate his character. I like his snarkiness. And when he needs to, when he needs to step up and sort of take charge a little bit, he most certainly can. So yeah. All right. Then we have Wreck-Gar, which Wreck-Gar is fine. I don't really care much for Wreck-Gar, to be honest. I think as an idea, he's a really solid idea of a character. I just don't really care for him. His best stuff is just his lines, right? You talk some TV. So yeah, and then in the episode with the big broadcast of 2006 when the Junkions start trashing everybody. I think thanks to the Decepticons and all that's all well and good. But in terms of overall impact that Wreck-Gar has on the show, it's not really too plentiful, and it's just, yeah, he's just a supporting castmate. Transformers Animated is where he really shines, so there's that.
All right, then now we have the Technobots made by Grimlock during Grimlock's New Brain. Um, can I name all of them? That's the question. This is Nosecone. Is that Lightspeed, I think? That's Strafe and that's Scattershot. Now, which one are you? I think I might have to bump the music up just a little bit. Let's do that. Might have to move it down a bit more, but we'll see what happens. Okay. Anyway, oh yeah, the Technobots are fine. Let's see. Because they get created in Grimlock's New Brain, and then they show up for one episode after that in the, I can't remember what episode that was. I think that was a Fairborn episode. Oops. I have to put the music back down just a little bit more, but I'll check out the VOD and see where things were. Just make note, minus 25 decibels. Anyway, so, this is tough. Because they don't really show up for too much, right? I'd say that they're probably below the aerial bots. They might be a low B. I just don't think they get much time to really shine. There's Scattershot, there's that one, there's Nosecone, and, or no, wait, yeah, Scattershot, Strafe, Nosecone, Lightspeed, and that one. I can't remember that one's name. Darn, it's not Groove, because that's the Protectobot. Alright, I'll have to cheat. Where's the Transformers wiki? Here it is. I found it. So, I actually already had it open, just because I knew I would. Afterburner. That's who it is. It's Afterburner. Okay, so there we go. See, I probably put them all there at a low B, just because they don't really have much. They show up in Grimlock's New Brain. They have that one spotlight episode. After that, then they make very small appearances in the beginning of the Rebirth, part 1, and then I don't think they show up again. So, there's that. Alright, there we go. That is all the Autobots for Season 3 done. Not quite all of the Autobots, because we still have the ones in Season 4 left to go. But we are getting there. We're almost done. Galvatron is our next Decepticon of Season 3. And Galvatron is S tier. I like Galvatron quite a lot. He's probably a bit lower. He might be just above Jazz, I think. The movie Galvatron, if I was just going off of the movie, he'd be very high up on the S tier. He'd be like probably, he'd probably be right above Goldbug. Maybe right above Magnus. But factoring in the show, knocks him down just a little bit. I'm kind of 50-50 on Galvatron sometimes. Sometimes I appreciate the craziness factor that he has, since he got tossed in and he landed in the plasma bath. But other times he just has ridiculous moments that just don't make any sense. The ones that I think are really cool that do propel him up to S tier, I really like the Web World one. I think when Cyclonus and Scourge are like, you know what, Galvatron needs therapy. Let's take him to this therapy planet. And then Galvatron was just too crazy that it like pretty much destroyed the planet. I like that. I think that was pretty funny. And then Ultimate Weapon, I think, is a good one as well, where there was no ultimate weapon. It was just a bluff. I think that's really interesting stuff. I think that's cool, where at the end of the day, we don't always need some big like planet decimating thing like Ultimate Doom or the giant beam rays or whatever it is, right? Or like metal cities or whatever. It can just be as simple as a bluff, and I like that a lot. That the show did that in season 3 with Ultimate Weapon. So yeah, so I think Galvatron's a pretty decently placed S tier. I don't think he's nearly scratches the highs that Megatron has throughout seasons 1 and 2, but he's decent enough in the movie, season 3, and the Rebirth. Cyclonus is fantastic. I think Cyclonus is probably S tier as well.
him being pretty much the Ultra Magnus of the Decepticons is awesome. I'd probably put him maybe right above Shockwave. And we really see that in one of the early episodes of season 3, where they're with that Quintesson and they go through that like color warping black hole, and you have Cyclonus and Ultra Magnus really facing off, which I think is a very fascinating concept, to have these two hardened warriors who are not Galvatron crazy or Rodimus inexperienced. They're just two warriors who have to put their grievances aside and try to survive. But I think Cyclonus, being this reserved, like light voiced, or not light voiced, but like low tone, like kind of speaks often in whispers. I think that's really cool. And I appreciate him being so heavily involved in stories, because in the earlier seasons of G1 it was pretty interchangeable, which might be a better thing to have. All right, this episode is Megatron and Starscream, this episode's Megatron and Soundwave, this episode is Megatron and the Constructicons. But I appreciate that Cyclonus is pretty much the through line. He's the constant of season 3, I'd say, where he's constantly involved with Galvatron's schemes. He's his right-hand man. So yeah, also, I'll squash it right now. Cyclonus is Bombshell. I don't care. He's Bombshell, all right? That's just who he is. Now, I understand people, saying that Skywarp, but personally, I've always subscribed to it being Bombshell, just because Bombshell is in the foreground, Skywarp is in the background. I consider the fact that Scourge is in the foreground when he gets made out of Thundercracker, so it just makes sense to assume that Bombshell is the one that becomes Skywarp, or Bombshell is the one that becomes Cyclonus, because again, he's in the foreground. So anyway, that's me selling that. Armada is another character like Hauler, and the other one that I said that just doesn't die on. the guy that's Armada, quote unquote. He's just like Hauler and Dion. He doesn't exist. He's just a figment of our imaginations. He was never there. But anyway, so yeah, Cyclonus I think is a standout character for sure in season 3, and even a little bit in Rebirth, even though I don't really understand why Scourge kind of usurps him in the Rebirth, because Cyclonus is very clearly the second in command, but it kind of treats Scourge like the second in command. Scourge is an A tier, I'd say. I'd probably put him below these guys. Probably right below Mirage, I'd say. I think Scourge's best moment was Burden Hardest to Bear, for sure, when he takes the Matrix and like kind of powers up and is all like bursting at the seams, basically. I think that was a really cool thing for Scourge, for a bit of something to set him apart from the rest of the Decepticons at the time, because we didn't really have a Starscream. Like, Starscream was there for 2 episodes with his ghost, but we didn't really have a Decepticon trying to overthrow Galvatron at all throughout the movie, seasons 3 or or Rebirth. So to have another kind of callback moment where it's, you have a Decepticon who obtains some power and tries to overthrow the leader with Scourge and the Matrix, I think that was a cool, a good call, because again, everyone was just so scared and subordinate, very subservient to Galvatron throughout season 3. So I think kind of changing it just a little bit, even though we go back to the status quo at the end of the episode. I think having Scourge kind of try to make a move there was pretty cool. But then the stuff in Ghost in the Machine was a lot of fun as well. Him and Starscream have a very interesting dynamic where it's, Starscream hijacks his body, and it's weird how Starscream's possession changes as well, where when he possessed Cyclonus didn't remember anything. But when he possesses Scourge is fully aware of the hijacking. But anyway, so
So yeah, their dynamic in that episode is a lot of fun. Where it's, you can't go back to Char. You're a traitor, remember? So then Scourge basically forced to help Starscream accomplish his goal of reviving Unicron and getting a new body. That's all very, very good stuff. And then Scourge just abandons Starscream once Unicron comes back and goes to the Autobots and says, "Hey, I need help." Whatever. I'm gonna go talk to Galvatron. So yeah. Very good stuff. Really like Scourge's character. I think I actually like him a bit. I'll probably put him above Mirage. So yeah, good stuff from Scourge. All right. Okay, so these are the new guys for Soundwave. These ones are F tier. I actually don't know their names. They are F tier. I'll put them right above Hauler. I don't know who these guys are. I know they show up like one time in the show, but that's it. Ratbat, I don't care for. Ratbat's gonna be right next to Frenzy. Where is Frenzy? Frenzy's right here next to Prowl. Yeah, I don't care for Ratbat, and I don't care for these two guys. I think these two guys are just useless. I thought these were the Terracons for a second. I was like, wait, why are there only 2 of them? There's supposed to be 5. So yeah, I don't care for these guys. I don't know who they are. I don't care for them. Octane is very cool. Really, really like Octane. Again, he was pretty much just what Blitzwing was going to be for the stuff that happens there. Oh wow, Power Glide has been usurped, I think. Yeah. Is that right? Do I do that? No. I'll tell you what, Swoop is going to be the top of B. Ravage is going to be above Sparkplug. And Octane is going to be above these guys. I'm going to put Octane right next to Blitzwing, actually, just because they're kind of hand in hand. I feel like Octane is just more of a natural continuation of Blitzwing, because again, that was what Blitzwing was. He betrayed the Decepticons at the end of Five Faces of Darkness and went on the run. And then Octane starts off, his first appearance in the show is pretty much as a freelance Decepticon, and he has Trypticon stealing monuments for himself. He's not working with Galvatron or anybody. So he's just a continuation. But yeah, no, I really like Octane's presence in his 2 episodes with Trypticon and then in Starscream's Ghost. I think that stuff is really cool, especially when he's going around and he's with Sandstorm and he's just trying to seek asylum. So he's on Earth, and then the Combaticons try to kill him on Earth, and then he goes to Cybertron, and Cyclonus and them try to kill him on Cybertron. So yeah, I really like his dynamic of just constantly being on the run, and then him with Starscream as well. I think that was a lot of fun. So yeah, Octane I think is a pretty solid A, because again, he's pretty much just Blitzwing, just different guy. So yeah, that'll be pretty much it for Octane. And another character I really wish showed up again. Yeah, I wish Octane would have showed up again as an Decepticon defector for the Autobots. Like, they actually stuck. I kind of wish that was a thing, but no well. All right, I'm going to take a quick water break, and then we'll continue on with the Battle Chargers. All right, so we have Runabout and Runamuck here. And they don't really do too much. They don't really show up too much. I'm probably just going to put them at the top of C above the Seekers. I like their personalities more. But, man, actually, you know what? They're going to go below. They're going to go below the Seekers. Seekers just have more going for them, I think. The Battle Chargers, I like their personality. I like when Starscream shows up. His ghost shows up and like, oh, Starscream. I think that's a lot of fun. But yeah, that's kind of it for their characters. That's kind of it. Now that I think about it, they're gonna go down right below Sideswipe. I wish that they did more, but they sadly did not. Then we have the Predacons, which I actually don't know the names of the Predacons
by memory, so I'm just gonna have to look them up, unfortunately. All right, so we have Razor Claw, Dive Bomb, Headstrong, Rampage, and Tantrum. Okay, a couple of those aren't very great names. I'm just gonna go ahead and rank them all the same. I think I'll put them below the Technobots, above Moonracer. Yeah, we'll put them right around there. Okay, so yeah, there. Yeah, right above Pipes, right below Moonracer, I think is a decent spot for them. I like their introduction, because it actually felt like a bit of a status quo change. Predaking, I'm just going to put above a little higher. I think Predaking's just a better, well-rounded thing, like Devastator, right? I prefer the Constructicons as Devastator than individually and all that. Okay. Yeah, I like how it felt like a bit of a status quo change, bringing in the Predacons, because I think it was when Skylynx was doing something in Five Faces of Darkness, when the Quintessons were like, oh, now you're going to face the Predacons or Predaking, and then they're like, oh, who's Predaking? And then Predaking shows up. It actually felt like the first time the show actually cared about introducing a new character that's going to stick around. Because, like, we've had characters introduced like DevCon and, I say that, but then we have the aerial bots, right, and the Combaticons and the Stunicons. So I take that back. But I appreciate them doing that again, I guess, for a combiner team, is introducing them just sort of out of the blue. It's like, oh yeah, here are these new Decepticons, instead of just having them show up and act like we've known them forever, which is what happened for most of season 1 and 2. So, and also the Insecticons were also introduced as well, I suppose. So yeah, I guess the show actually did do a decent job introducing new characters organically, instead of just having them show up. But anyway, so yeah. Oh, Computron. Why is Computron down here? Computron is going to be higher with the rest of the combiners. I think actually Computron is one of the better combiner groups. I appreciate him being like, oh, analyzing, 72% chance of punch coming to face. Okay, then we have the Terracons, which, much like the Predacons, I don't really know them by name, but they don't really do anything. They'll probably just be top of C tier. They show up, they cause some mayhem towards the end of Season 3, but after that, they don't really do much. Abominus, probably just up here, I guess. Yeah, right there, maybe, above Sea Spray. Trypticon is pretty cool. Trypticon's gonna be, I think, kind of right next to Omega Supreme. I think Trypticon is a better character out of the two Titans, with him and Metroplex, just because Trypticon actually, like, does stuff. He doesn't just sit around as a battle station or a city. Like when Octane has him, when Trypticon goes around causing mayhem in Five Faces of Darkness, right? He destroys the Ark, which is kind of a big deal. I don't think that was really sold enough, is that the Ark is now destroyed. But he destroys the Ark, gets tossed in the ocean, Octane gets him out of there, and then they go around for a little bit, and then he's around, I think, for Call of the Primitives. And yeah, and then that was pretty much it for Trypticon. But yeah, I think his appearances definitely amount to more. Actually, we're gonna move him down a little bit. He's probably gonna be right above Computron. I think he's better than Metroplex, but actually he's just gonna be right next to Metroplex. He's better than Metroplex, right? That's what this list tells you. Okay, I don't really know what this is meant to be, because I know these are obviously the Quintessons, but I don't know if this is a particular Quintesson character, because they all look pretty much the same. Sometimes they have different faces, but I don't know. Middle of B. I don't know. Right there after Red Alert, sure. How about right after Hound? Because Hound is the yeah, like I said before, he's the measuring stick. Okay, then we have Sharkticons and Alicons.
bottom of C tier. Ba weep, gra na weep, ninibon. That's it. Yeah, yeah, they aren't characters. They're just minions. So yeah, I'll really put them there. I will put them there. Unicron, I'm going to put in A tier. I appreciate Unicron just being this galactic threat that the Autobots and Decepticons kind of have to unite to defeat, at least by the end of the movie. And just his very possessive nature over Galvatron. Just the chaos that he wreaks around, just eating up the moon bases, and even the stuff that he does after the movie when he comes back to life, thanks to Starscream, gives him his new body, and then almost has Cybertron as his new body, but then gets defeated. I think that's all really cool stuff, and I love Unicron being the sort of emperor, basically, in a way, where he's possessive, right? He owns Galvatron. Galvatron is a slave now to Unicron. I think that was a really, really cool story beat for that, and it's an interesting thing where Transformers Prime, I just wish there was more done with it, with the stuff in Predacons Rising, with Megatron being just so like held under Unicron's thumb that he gives up his tyrannical ways. I kind of wish there was a bit more played with that with the movie, because Galvatron goes through a lot of crap thanks to Unicron in the movie. So I kind of wish that there was something there where Galvatron was a lot more resistant to Unicron's commands. So anyway, but yeah, Unicron, I think pretty solid A tier. All right, that does it for season 3 in the movie, and now we're on to season 4. Let's go. We're in the home stretch. We're in the home stretch. All right, let's finish strong here. We have Brainstorm. Brainstorm is pretty cool. A lot of these characters are probably going to end up in the same spots, to be perfectly honest. All these characters were all in just the Rebirth parts 1 through 3, so a lot of them are kind of on similar standings with how much they appear, how much they do. See, I'll put Brainstorm kind of above these guys, I'd say. Probably. Ooh, it's crazy. This track that's playing right now sounds like something out of Batman Beyond. That's awesome. This is for Revenge of the Fallen, the game. But no, Brainstorm, I think we're going to put towards... we'll just put him at the top of B. I think him being the one that's kind of has this idea... I think it was him, right? That had the idea to do the Headmaster stuff. I think that's a pretty good thing for him. Hardhead is pretty much just Ironhide 2.0. That's kind of how I've always viewed him. He's okay. I'll just put him right next to Brawn. They're kind of in similar spots. Chrome Dome. Chrome Dome's cool. He doesn't really come across as the leader of this team as much as he does in Headmasters, which is interesting. So I think I'll put Chrome Dome kind of right there. And then Highbrow. It's kind of like even though Brainstorm is like the smart one of the group, Highbrow also kind of comes across as the smart one of the group, but I'll put him kind of above these guys. I'll put him right next to Springer. Then we have Point Blank. Point Blank really doesn't do anything, I don't think, right? Because he's a target master. He doesn't really do much. I'll put him probably right below the Seekers, maybe. Crosshairs, kind of in the same ballpark. No, he does a bit more. Also a target master. I'm going to put him down here. He's going to be behind, or he's going to be above Scattershot, I'd say. Sure Shot, another one that just, he's right now. Actually, no, Sure Shot's actually going to be lower. Sure Shot doesn't really do much. So we'll put him below, I think, the Battle Chargers. Cerebros is actually really cool. I really like Cerebros. I think he's a great concept of a character. Again, very similar to Sandstorm in First Aid in being that they're more of a pacifist type character, just kind of done with fighting. But Cerebros, they really honed in on it for 3 episodes as opposed to just 1 for each of them, for each of First Aid and Sandstorm. So
So yeah, so I think that Cerebros is probably an A tier character for me. I think his bond with Spike, not really bond, but Spike just trying to get through to him is cool stuff. It's really interesting stuff. Probably put him above Mirage, right below Scourge maybe. Actually, okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put First Aid below Scourge, and I'm gonna put Cerebros, I guess, behind Skylinks. I was gonna put him behind Cliffjumper, but I'll just put him behind Skylinks. Okay, then we have Punch Counter Punch. Great gimmick. I love the gimmick. He was just only there for like 2 seconds, so that was fine. He'll be kind of right around these guys, I'd say. Again, very cool gimmick, very cool idea to have an Autobot that can change forms and go from Autobot to Decepticon to infiltrate and spy on the other side's stuff. I know typically it's Punch, or no. Yeah, right? Yeah. Punch is the Autobot, and then Counterpunch is the Decepticon, right? So yeah, I think that's an interesting dynamic. I think, yeah, typically it's Punch is the main person who changes into Counterpunch, but I know I've seen a few stories where, like stop motions, where it's Counterpunch who is a Decepticon infiltrator that turns into Punch. Yeah, it could go either way for me, but I think I liked what they did here with this. Somehow he just doesn't blow his cover immediately, but that's neither here nor there. Oh shoot, Cloudraker is one of these guys' names, right? I have such a hard time remembering Season 4 character names. Who are you? Yeah, Cloudraker and Fastlane, that's right. They're the same character pretty much, so I will put them kind of right around here, probably below Wind Charger, probably below these guys, below the Battle Chargers, probably maybe below the Throttlebots. All right, and then to end the Autobots, the last Autobot that we're putting on this tier list, we have Spaceship Bruce, otherwise known as Fortress Maximus. He looks insane here. That is crazy. Is that supposed to be the Autobot insignia? I can't tell. All right, but yeah, Spaceship Bruce he's kind of nothing in this. Yeah, Fort Max. I love calling him Spaceship Bruce. For those who don't know, the Headmaster's English dub, Transformers Headmasters, the English dub of the series, renames a lot of characters. I assume that it's just a translation error in terms of translating from one word to the next, because these are pretty different, names, like Cloudraker. What does that mean in Japanese being translated to English? So yeah, so Fortress Maximus ends up being called Spaceship Bruce. Who else do we have here? Blur is Wally. Blaster is Billy. I think Spike is Sparkle. So there are a lot of interesting translation errors that come across, and Spaceship Bruce is probably my favorite one. But yeah, now Spaceship Bruce I think is probably just going to be, I don't think he even belongs here, because he's only there for like the last 5 minutes of the episode. Yeah. He really doesn't do anything. He just fights Scorponok and that's it. He's probably just going to be right around here. Maybe, I guess, above the Throttlebots. Maybe. I don't know. Alright, so that's it for all the Autobots. Woohoo! Alright, so let's finish out with the Decepticons. Here we have Apeface, one of the headmasters. And a Triple Changer at that. I think Apeface is fine. Kind of in the same boat with a lot of these guys, where they just don't really have time to shine. There's just too many characters on screen, so a lot of them fall to the wayside. I'll actually put Apeface and Snapdragon behind, behind the Seekers. Yeah. And then Snapdragon, same case. Well, actually, he's going to go above Apeface because he freaking, as you can see here with this picture, he just tore up Daniel. Just threw him around and whatever, so that forced Daniel to be put inside RC's head. So yeah, so that's it for the Horror Cons. That's them too. That's their duo, is the Horror Cons. And then we have these guys, sort of the core three of headmasters. We have Mindwipe, Skullcruncher, and Weirdwolf. And Mindwipe, I think, is really cool. Got a really cool gimmick. I think I'll probably put him probably right above Ramhorn, maybe? Sure, we'll just put him right there. Skullcruncher, he's just gonna be... actually, Skullcruncher doesn't really do as much, I don't think, right? He'll be above Prowl, maybe? Sure. And then Weirdwolf, kind of the same boat. Just put him right next to him. Yeah, there we go. Just put him right there. I think Mindwipe, just his gimmick, I think, kind of puts him above a few spaces there, just because it's very unique. But the rest of these guys just turn into animals and are vicious, right? That's just kind of their thing. All right, so now we have the Decepticon Target Masters. We have Trigger Happy. We have Slugslinger, and you. This isn't. Is it Misfire? Or is Misfire the Target Master? I don't know. But these guys aren't very high either. Yeah, they're probably just going to be, again, just kind of below the Seekers. Yeah, they just... Again, like I said, there's just so many characters on screen that there just isn't too much to work with. So yeah, I think them being in that spot is fine enough. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. I'll probably just keep these guys together. Yeah, I'll just do that. I think that works better. Because these guys, with it being a more... Even though the Autobot cast was extremely bloated in Season 1, these guys still had, like, some moments on screen. But, like, these guys pretty much had nothing, right? Like, from Sideswipe... from Trigger Happy, I should say. From Trigger Happy down, it's pretty much just nothing. So, yeah. But then we have Six Shot, I should say. Sorry, sometimes I get them confused. Six Shot, the ninja consultant, as it were in Headmasters. No, Six Shot, he's not this high. I don't know why I'm doing that, why I'm scrolling up so high. Six Shot is probably right above Mindwipe, I'd say. Again, Six Shot's gimmick is very cool. He can change into 6 things instead of just 2 or 3. So that's really cool. It's a cool gimmick. But that's all he does. He just does it one time to shoot down all the aerial bots, and then that's it. And then you don't really see him ever again. In Headmasters, he has a lot more substantial of a role, but like I said, I'm not really ranking based off Headmasters. If I was, he'd probably be an A tier, high A, but not here. So yeah, just shows up, shoots a bunch of guys, and looks cool doing it. So 5 up, 5 down. It's like shooting cyber ducks and whatever he says. Oh, Pounce and Wingspan. Okay, I was very confused there because Fastlane and Cloudraker are put together. Where are they? Right here. I was kind of confused why they were separate, but kind of the same case. They'll just be right next to this guy, to Punch Counter Punch, just because they're in the same scene together, kind of had similar things go on. But I'll just put them above because they shot him, so they're technically better, right? No, that's not really how I rank things, but whatever. All right, so then we have one more. It's Scorponok. And if I'm counting Zarek as part of it, which I feel like I should, Zarek's probably up here. I'll put him like right next to the Quintesson, maybe. Is that everybody? That's everybody. Yeah, I think having him up there is kind of a fine thing. I think he's definitely better than Fortress Maximus, because Fort Max he wasn't a character, he just showed up. So yeah. Okay, that's everything. I'm gonna take a quick water break, and then we'll go through the list.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm muted before I cleared my throat. All right, whatever. But before I do this, I forgot to do it at the start of the stream, 3.5 hours later. Let me put my stuff. I just realized that I muted myself because I typed member. Anyway, wait a minute, where was I? Wait, because I pressed M like a bunch of times. Anyway, Amazon. If you use my link and order anything on that, I get a commission for it, so it helps out the channel. Remember, if you see the join button there beneath the title of the video, right next to subscribe and all that. If you click join, you can become a member. It's $1. Like I said before in the last stream, I'm not going to pretend like that's no big deal. I know that there are creators who say like, oh, it's only $2 and it's only $5. I know that can be a big deal for a lot of people. So it's not mandatory at all. It's just an extra way to help support the channel if you want to. I've got a few perks for it. Like you can use emotes in my chat that I have. And the fun thing about memberships is the more members that I get, the more emotes that I can use in my thing. So if you look in the chat right now, you can see the Roland Durand emote, my 2 Captain Hauser emotes, and my 1 Shock to Waving, my Shock to emote. So yeah, so more members, I get to add more emotes and stuff, which we can have fun and chat with. Let's see, what else do we have here? I have Blue Sky. I have Blue Sky. You can follow me on Blue Sky. Because Twitter is a cesspool and I do post on there semi frequently enough. So yeah, follow me on Blue Sky and also on I'm gonna mute myself. Unmuted because I had to type Instagram. I've also on Instagram as well. You can follow me on there as well. I don't really post there as frequently, but every now and again I will, if I'm like advertising a new film or whatever. So there we go. So that I believe that's all my stuff that I have. Oh wait, I think I also have donate. I think I have donate as well. Again, another thing that's not mandatory for the channel at all, but yeah, if you click that link that Nightbot just put in the chat there, or it's also in the description, it'll take you to a Stream Elements donate page if you want to do that, and any particular amount. Again, not mandatory at all. Of course, I would very much appreciate it, but not mandatory in the slightest. All right, so there we have that. I just had to get all that stuff out of the way because I forgot to advertise it at the beginning of the stream, as I normally do. So I'll try to remember that for next time. Anyway, alright, let's go off all of the 188 Transformers characters I have ranked here. From the S tier, we have Starscream, Optimus Prime, Megatron, Ultra Magnus, Bumblebee / Goldbug, Grimlock, Galvatron, Jazz, Cyclonus, Shockwave, Wheeljack, Spike, Soundwave, and Perceptor. I think that's a pretty solid list. Might put Spike right below Soundwave, maybe. Kind of around there. Okay, A tier. For the A tier, we have Ironhide at the top. He was not toppled at all. We have Ironhide at the top of A, RC, Blaster, Alpha Trion, Cup, Silverbolt, Elita 1, Hot Rod / Rodimus Prime, Unicron, Skylynx, Cerebros, Cliffjumper, Scourge, First Aid, Mirage, Devastator, Laserbeak, Rumble, Skyfire, Trax, Blitzwing, Octane, Beachcomber, Hoist, Ravage, and Sparkplug. This is for the A tier. And then for the B tier, we have a lot. We have Brainstorm. We have Swoop, Power Glide, Chrome Dome, Bruticus, Blur, Swindle, Astro Train, Onslaught, Highbrow, Springer, Brawn, Hardhead, Motormaster. Sorry, it's almost 4-hour stream. Give me a break here. Lots of names to remember. Warpath, Gears, Vortex, Omega Supreme, Hotspots, all the Constructicons, Sandstorm, Cosmos, Menasor, Blastoff, Slingshot, Outback, Computron, Tripticon, Menasor, or Menasor. I'm knackered, man. I'm done for the day. Watch Falcon Winter Soldier after this. Metroplex, Superion, Defensor, Dead End, Wild Rider, Brawl, Breakdown, Dragstrip, Red Alert, Inferno, Grapple, DevCon, Scorponok, Quintessons, I guess, Hound, Chromia, the Insecticons, Daniel, Wheelie, Predaking, Rekgar, the Coneheads, Abominus, Sea Spray, the rest of the aerial bots, Carly, Ratchet, Chip Chase, Crosshairs, the Technobots, Moonracer, all of the Predacons, Pipes, Smokescreen, Firestar, Huffer, Trailbreaker, the rest of the Dinobots, Six Shots, Mindwipe, Ramhorn, Rewind and Eject, I guess all the rest of the cassettes, I guess you could say, including Rat Bad and Frenzy. These two, Weird Wolf and Skullcruncher, Prowl, all of the Terracons, the two Seekers, Windcharger, Blue Streak, Sunstreaker, and Sideswipe. I'm sorry, this is now the C tier. So yeah, from the Terracons onward, that's all C tier here. Trigger Happy, Slug Slinger, and I think Misfire. I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now. We have Snapdragon, Ape Face, the clones. Oh my gosh, I just forgot their names. Pounce and Wingspan. There we go. Pounce. I'm done, man. Punch, Counter Punch. We have Point Blank. The Battle Chargers, Run Amok and Run About. Spaceship Bruce, Fortress Maximus. Sure Shots. All of the Throttle Bots. Blades. Cloudraker and Fastlane. Streetwise, Groove. Six Gun. Reflector. Broadside. And the Sharkticons and Alicons, I guess. Then for the F tier, so that was the C tier. Now for the F tier, we have Dion, we have Buzzsaw, Skids, the Rainmakers, Swerve, Tailgate, those two cassettes, still don't know what their names are, Hauler, and then Slammer and Scamper. So there we go. And look, it's even better when I'm not zoomed in, because when I'm zoomed in, you can see the where it cuts off. But if I zoom out, it's a little bit harder to tell. So it does look like it's the full picture, which is awesome. I really like that detail, that attention to detail. But anyway, that's it for me. I am tired after doing this. I don't know how I'm so tired after doing this. Maybe it's just saying all the names over and over again, because there are some pretty loaded names, right? Like Thundercracker, that's kind of a lot to say. And Cloudraker and Fortress Maximus, and that's a lot to say, especially so many times. So, and Starscream, Megatron, Ultra Magnus, all that stuff. So yeah, it's kind of bloated. So I'm a little tired. Anyway, that's gonna do it for me. Again, all my stuff in the chat here, in the stream chat. You can see all my link stuff if you want to help out the channel in any way or follow me on socials. I would greatly appreciate all of that. Really would.
And yeah, so there we have it, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. If you caught this live, I really appreciate you stopping in and checking this out. If you're watching the VOD, I also very much appreciate you. Thank you for so much for checking these out. Next time, I think I will do the Transformers Prime characters. That does seem to be the next thing that I will do. Obviously, keep an eye on the community tab. I think it's called the posts tab now, but I like community tab. I think that's cool because it's engaging with the community. So I think that's cool stuff. So I'm still gonna call it the community tab, but I think it's called the posts tab now. But anyway, so yeah, keep an eye on the community tab, or if you see it on your community feed, your post feed on the YouTube homepage, you might see it there too when I'll be streaming next. So keep an eye out for that. And hope to see you there for the next time if you couldn't catch this one live. Hope to see you there, or hope you check out the VOD as well. Anyway, once again, thank you guys so much for stopping by. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys for the next Streamerino. So, with all that said, everybody, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff if you haven't, and just yeah, take care, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.